Chapter 707, Shocking Change _3. Brother? Suddenly Shangguan Furong burst into tears. It's all my fault, I didn't listen to Mom. I let the wolves into our house by getting Zhao Xin involved with that bitch Lin Fong. It really was Lin Fong. The old lady Shangguan's face tightened. Zhao Xin. You bastard. Shangguan Dehui punched Zhao Xin directly. Zhao Xin's head swerved, fell to the ground. Shangguan Dehui didn't stop there, he grabbed Zhao Xin by the collar, pinned him against the wall and continued to beat him. Zhao Xin was no match for the robust Shangguan Dehui. In an instant his face swelled and his vision blurred with stars. Old lady Zhao panicked. Stop. Stop. Spare him, uncle. If you keep going you might kill him. Shangguan Dehui pushed old lady Zhao away. His life matters but my sister's doesn't? If anything happens to my sister today, it'll make him pay with his life. Old lady Zhao began crying in a panic, looking from Shangguan Furong to Zhao Xin. Finally, she clutched at the sleeve of the old lady Shangguan. Sister, please tell uncle to stop. An eye for an eye, you're worried about your son, but what about my daughter? Who's concerned about her? Old lady Shangguan looked at Shangguan Furong with teary eyes. Furong, come down please, don't do anything foolish. How will I live if something happens to you? Mum, I'm sorry, I really can't go on living. She couldn't go on. Once, everyone knew Shangguan Furong had married into a good household. She was held in the highest regard. Now she was just a joke. She couldn't bear the judgmental stares of others. She couldn't bear the sudden betrayal of Zhao Xin. She couldn't stand Lin Fong taking over her place. Death seemed to be the only way out. She would be free with death. At this moment Anai Yang entered the scene. Aunt, no obstacle in life is insurmountable. Please come down. Don't make Grandma worry. Look, isn't my dad taking revenge for you right now? Yang, you don't understand. Shangguan Furong shook her head. Anai Yang pressed on. Auntie, do you think death is freeing? It's not. Death is merely the beginning of pain. From what I've heard from some elders, people who commit suicide bear enormous sins. Not only will they not be reincarnated, but their souls will also replay their suicide, enduring the pain time and again indefinitely. When a person is teetering on the edge of death, they may wonder if there is a heaven or hell in this world. Anai Yang's absurd words roused Shangguan Furong's attention. Anai Yang carefully observed Shangguan Furong's expression while saying, Aunt, Zijuan and Ziqing are just children, unaware of the world. Can you bear to see them endure such pain? Shangguan Furong replied, It's me they will die with. If God must punish someone, let him punish me. The children have nothing to do with this. Anai Yang continued, But you are their mother, your wish represents theirs as well. God won't spare them just because they are children. Shangguan Furong fell silent for a moment, holding the children closer to her. She was starting to waver. At that moment Anai Yang spoke again. Aunt, don't you want to get revenge? Revenge? Shangguan Furong looked at Anai Yang. Revenge for what? Anai Yang said, Think about who did this to you? It was Lin Fong. That bitch Lin Fong. Shangguan Furong yelled. So, you must keep living. Only by living can you take revenge. Anai Yang continued, Death is like a flickering lamp, extinguished in an instant. In the beginning the Zhao family may feel guilty, but as time passes they will forget you. Then Zhao Xin will marry Lin Fong. As for the children, they are young, they can have more. At that point, who will remember you? Who will remember Zijuan or Ziqing? Anai Yang's words penetrated to the core, each syllable a tearful plea. The color drained from Shangguan Furong's face. Seeing her wavering, Anai Yang seized the opportunity, continuing, Aunt, while you're here crying your heart out, planning to jump with Zijuan and Ziqing, Lin Fong might be at home feasting and celebrating. Why should we let ourselves suffer and make it easier for others? Yang, is what you're saying true? Shangguan Furong asked. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 708, Shocking Change _4. Anai Yang nodded, Of course it's true. Lin Fong as the third party definitely wants you dead. Only when you're dead, can she usurp your place with a clear conscience. At this point Anai Yang paused, then added, Auntie, get a divorce. Times are different now. You can still live well after a divorce. Look at my mother, look at Sister Ping Ping, look at Aunt and I, which of them lives worse than women with families? You're knowledgeable, educated, and capable, in what way are you inferior to Lin Fong? Zhao Xin having an affair with Lin Fong is his lack of insight, his loss. You should live on, live beautifully and make them regret it. As Ni Yang spoke, she began to walk towards Shangguan Farong. Shangguan Farong had already let her guard down. But what about Zijuan and Ziqing? Will you leave them with the Zhao family? No. I won't agree. Zijuan and Ziqing are my flesh and blood. Shangguan Farong's emotions, which had only just calmed down, suddenly stirred up again. Ni Yang halted her steps, then said, "In this marriage Zhao Shen is at fault. According to the marriage law, when one of the spouses cheats, the child is not awarded to the guilty party." Really? Shangguan Farong asked. Really? Ni Yang nodded. Auntie, give your hand to me. Ni Yang carefully reached out to Shangguan Farong. Shangguan Farong handed Zhao Zijuan to Ni Yang. Just then, old Madame Zhao and Zhao Shen came over, intending to take away Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing. Shangguan Farong suddenly pulled the child back. "Don't come over. None of you come over." Shangguan Dehui and old Madame Shangguan immediately held back the two. Shangguan Dehui said, "Farong, rest assured, Mom and I are here. We'll help you keep an eye on them. We won't come over." Old Madame Zhao and Zhao Shen were very anxious. The children are of the Zhao family, how could they let Shangguan Farong take them away? But they were afraid of further upsetting Shangguan Farong. Upon seeing their hesitation, Shangguan Farong calmed down and handed Zhao Zijuan back again. Both Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing were so groggy from the sleeping pills they had been given. With a child in each arm, Ni Yang looked at Shangguan Farong. "Auntie, come down too, quickly come down." Shangguan Farong slowly rose from the balcony, her hair tousled by the cold wind. Behind her, countless fireworks were being set off. Such a sight might have signaled a happy family reunion. It was ironic indeed. A look of sadness hooked the corners of Shangguan Farong's mouth. She didn't want to go through all this either. She hadn't wanted it to come to this point. "Auntie." Ni Yang was a little worried about her. "Shoo." Shangguan Farong put her index finger to her lips, making a silence gesture. "Don't speak." Ni Yang nodded obediently. Shangguan Farong then said, Yang, move back." Ni Yang moved backwards, holding the children. Shangguan Shi and Ni Tsuehua immediately came over to take over the children. Old Madame Zhao and Zhao Shen wanted to take away the children, but were stopped by Ni Tsuehua. "Get lost. You have no right to touch the children." Seeing Ni Tsuehua so fiercely protective of Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing, a look of relief flickered in Shangguan Farong's eyes. Family would always be family. Although she had originally treated Ni Tsuehua so poorly, Ni Tsuehua still stood by her side at this moment. Then she looked at Zhao Shen and old Madame Zhao. Once they found out the two children were safe, they didn't care about her at all. "Farong, come down quickly." Old Madame Shangguan, seeing Shangguan Farong stand up again, could feel her heart squeeze painfully. "Farong, come down, brother will take you home." "I can't go back, brother, he'll still be your sister in my next life." With her last words, Shangguan Farong spread her arms, leaning backwards. "Farong." "Auntie." Just then Ni Yang, swift and nimble, rushed forward, grabbing Shangguan Farong's wrist. Due to the sudden force, Shangguan Farong was pulled along, her body hanging in midair as she managed to grab onto a protruding decoration on the edge of the balcony. The two of them hung in midair, creating a chilling spectacle. Yang. Ni Tsuehua, scared, collapsed on her knees. Shangguan Dehui reacted fastest, running over and grabbing Ni Yang's wrist. But his own strength was not enough to pull both of them up. He looked back at the others. "Quick, come help." At that moment, hearing the news, Shangguan Su rushed in from the entrance. "Dad! Quick, come and help." Shangguan Dehui's veins on his arm stood out as he strained. Source: web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 709, Shocking Change _5. Shangguan Su ran over, taken aback, immediately started helping Shangguan Dehui pull the person up. Shangguan Farong, looking at Ni Yang who was desperately holding onto her wrist, gently closed her eyes. Yang, thank you. But I'm sorry. I can't endure such humiliation in my life. From the moment Zhao Shen cheated on her, she couldn't bear to live anymore. Her self-esteem wouldn't allow her to barely survive in this world. However, Ni Yang's words also made her realize in time that the child was innocent, and she shouldn't take the child with her. She felt assured to leave the child with Shangguan's elderly matriarch. Shangguan Farong slowly broke free of Ni Yang's hand, her body plummeting down like a kite with a broken string. Ni Yang turned pale. "Aunt? Farong." Shangguan Dehui cried out in despair. The father and son hurriedly pulled Ai Yang up and then ran downstairs in a rush. The lights downstairs were brightly lit. Quickly call 120. Quickly call 120. Zhao's elderly matriarch urgently ordered the servant. What? You guys didn't call 120 for help earlier? Shengguan Dehui grabbed Zhao Xin's collar. Under normal circumstances, they would call 120 for help first. Shengguan Dehui and the others had arrived in such a hurry that they hadn't noticed that the Zhao family hadn't called the police or dialed 120. Zhao Xin stammered, "Brother, calm down because today, the Zhao family was a prominent and renowned family and wouldn't report such a shameful incident to the police. Alerting the police would mean making it public. It's New Year's Eve today, isn't it inviting ridicule? Rich and influential families who value their reputation the most would rather cover it up than report it. Besides, at that time, Zhao Shen and Zhao's old lady didn't expect Shengguan Furong to actually jump off the building. They thought as long as the Shengguan family came, Shengguan Furong would stop making a scene. They didn't expect she would still jump. To hell with staying calm. Shengguan Dehui punched Zhao Shen. If anything happens to Furong today, you won't live either. Shengguan Dehui, who had been good-natured for many years, cursed for the first time today. After he finished speaking, Shengguan Dehui ran out of the door. Shengguan Furong lay on the ground, a large pool of blood spreading on the ground, dyeing the thick snow red, absolutely horrifying. The air was filled with a heavy scent of blood. Shengguan's elderly matriarch didn't dare to move Shengguan Furong, afraid of inflicting secondary injuries, crying out, "Furong, my poor child. God, if you want to punish someone, punish me. Why do you have to torment my child?" Aunt. Shengguan she also knelt on the ground, crying. Ai Yang ran out from the inner room. "Make way." Seeing Ai Yang, everyone seemed to see hope and immediately made way for her. Ai Yang placed the first aid box on the ground, first checked Shengguan Furong's pupils, then put her hand on Shengguan Furong's wrist. In her downcast eyes, a faint glint flashed. They had thought that since Shengguan Furong had lost so much blood, it was mostly a bad outlook, but surprisingly Shengguan Furong might have been lucky after all. Meanwhile, Ai Yang also let out a sigh of relief, opened the medical box, and started administering first aid to Shengguan Furong. Here, Zhao's elderly matriarch whispered to Zhao Xin, "Shenbao, I think the Shengguan family won't let this go lightly this time, you should run first." "Mom, I'm not running." Zhao's elderly matriarch sighed, "Silly boy, if you don't run now, are you waiting for Shengguan Dehui to kill you?" Shengguan Dehui was a troublemaker in his youth. What can't he do? Zhao's elderly matriarch was genuinely scared now. Shengguan Dehui had just beaten Zhao Xin half to death and now with Shengguan Furong, he definitely wouldn't let Zhao Xin go. Zhao Xin was her only son, she couldn't just stand by and watch Zhao Xin get into trouble. "If I run, what happens to you?" Zhao Xin looked at Zhao's elderly matriarch. Things have come to this pass and he too was very afraid. No one born as a human doesn't cherish his life. And he knew Shengguan Dehui too well. He knew that Shengguan Dehui would definitely fight him to death. Zhao's elderly matriarch continued, "I'm already old, they wouldn't dare to do anything to me, an old lady. You run first, wait until this blows over. Run fast. Leave from the back door. Yes, take more money." Zhao's elderly matriarch took out all the cash from her body and gave it to Zhao Xin, then took off her gold bracelets, gold necklace, gold earrings and other jewelry and stuffed them to Zhao Xin. "Shenbao, listen to your mom, don't come back for a short time and don't call me. While they're still there, hurry up and go. Don't look back." Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 710, Shocking Change _6. Zhao Xin took the items handed to him by old Mrs. Zhao. "Mom, I'll go first. Please take care of yourself at home." Old Mrs. Zhao nodded, her eyes full of tears. What kind of sin had she committed to let her family become like this? Old Mrs. Zhao wiped the tears from her face and warned the servants in a low voice, "Don't utter a word about what just happened." "Yes, madam," the servants nodded in response. Meanwhile, Ai Yang first bandaged Shengguan Furong's head wound, then took out 3 silver needles and punctured them into 3 of Furong's main acupuncture points. He looked up to Shengguan Dehui, "Dad, did you call 120? "I did," replied Shengguan Dehui. "How is your aunt?" After asking this question, everything became quiet, even the crying stopped. Ai Yang said, "Don't worry, aunt is fine. She's fine." At this, old Mrs. Shangguan immediately questioned, Yang Yang, you aren't lying, are you? Is your aunt really all right? Her voice was choking with sobbing. Grandma, I'm not lying. And is really fine. And I Yang held her hand. But she lost so much blood and is still unconscious. And I Yang paused before continuing. Aunt is 2 months pregnant, but the child in her womb may not be saved. I have done some preliminary emergency measures. Now we are just waiting for 120. Old Mrs. Shangwan broke down crying. It's good as long as she's fine. It's good as long as she's fine. Old Mrs. Zhao didn't dare to approach, she could only watch from afar, unable to hear clearly what they were saying. Amitabha Buddha, please bless Shangwan Farong to be safe. Otherwise our Shinbao will be ruined, Mrs. Zhao prayed, hands clasped. Soon, the sound of the 120 ambulance echoed in the air. Everyone followed the ambulance to the hospital. A crowd of people waited outside the operating room. After a while, the light in the operating room went off. Old Mrs. Shangwan and Shangwan Dehui immediately approached. Doctor, how is my sister, daughter? The doctor removed his mask and smiled. Fortunately, you did first aid before sending her to the hospital. The patient is now in very good condition and there is no life-threatening danger. However, the baby could not be saved. Also, her lower leg is fractured and needs to stay in the hospital for a while. It doesn't matter, the child is not saved as long as the person is fine. As long as the person is fine. Hearing the doctor's words, old Mrs. Shangwan showed a little smile. Thank you, Yang Yang. Old Mrs. Shangwan walked over and embraced Ni Yang. If it were not for Ni Yang who caught Shangwan Farong and reduced half of the force of fall, Shangwan Farong might not have been so lucky tonight. Knowing that Shangwan Farong was okay, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Shangwan Dehui said, Dia, take mom and the kids home. I can handle things here with Farong. And I Tsuehua said, you and mom go home. They'll stay here to take care of Farong. As a woman, whatever I do, it'll be more convenient than you. Old Mrs. Shangwan looked around and frowned. Where is the Zhao family? How come no one came? They initially thought that the Zhao family also followed them in the rush. Looking back now, not even a servant from the Zhao family was sent over. This was really outrageous. I'm going to confront them. Shangwan Dehui undid his coat button. I'm going too. Shangwan Su followed Shangwan Dehui. As a nephew on his mother's side, his aunt was being bullied, he couldn't stand by and do nothing. Otherwise, the Zhao family might really think there's no one left in the Shangwan family. Dehui, Xiaoshu, you two don't act rashly, and I Tsuehua held the hands of both Shangwan Dehui and Shangwan Su. Old Mrs. Shangwan sighed, Dyer is right, you two shouldn't act impetuously. Our Shangwan family always acts logically. Right now, Farong is still in the hospital bed, let's wait for her to wake up first. Shangwan Dehui was impulsive by nature. If he really caused a death, it would be messy. Upon hearing this, Shangwan Dehui and Shangwan Su had no choice but to stop in their tracks. And I Tsuehua continued, Dehui, you should quickly take them back home. It's late and the children need to rest. They can come back to see Farong in the morning. Madame Shangwan said, Dia, you go back. I will take care of Farong. I don't trust these kids with Zijuan and Ziqing. Such is the heart of every parent. Madame Shangwan was worried about Shangwan Farong. Only with her personal supervision would she be reassured. After some discussion, it was finally decided that Madame Shangwan would stay with Shangwan Farong, while the others would take Zijuan and Ziqing home to rest. After all the commotion, by the time they got home, it was already midnight. Shangwan Dehui and Ni Tsuehua went to the neighbors to pick up little Ni Yun. Shangwan, she lay on her bed, unable to sleep with the noises outside her window. She got up and knocked on Ni Yang's door. Yang Yang. Sister Xiaoxi. Ni Yang opened the door. Yang Yang, I can't sleep. Can I chat with you? Shangwan, she asked. Sure. Ni Yang nodded. The two, dressed in matching pajamas, sat on the bed. Yang Yang, do you think our aunt can get through this? Ni Yang laughed. From adversity comes blessing. Don't worry, your aunt will be fine. After this life and death tribulation, Shangwan Farong should finally realize the truth. Shangwan, she continued, my uncle is so awful. He always seemed like such a good man. I can't believe he would betray my aunt. And with Lin Fang of all people. Grandma was right. Lin Fang is not a good woman at all. Thankfully, my father stopped her from marrying into our family in time. Ni Yang was slightly surprised. You've known Lin Fang for a while now? Shangwan, she nodded and didn't hide anything, explaining what happened. Oh, I see. Ni Yang squinted. From what you've said, Lin Fang indeed doesn't seem like good news. The two sisters chatted late into the night, but woke early the next morning. The aroma of food was already wafting from downstairs. Breakfast was prepared by Enai Tsuehua. Everyone eat quickly. After breakfast we're going to the hospital to see your aunt. Zhao Ziqing ate heartily, slurping the noodles noisily. Zhao Zijuan said uneasily, "Aunt, what happened to my mom?" They were asleep throughout the night and had no idea what had transpired. Enai Tsuehua smiled, "Your mom is fine, she just wasn't feeling well. She's in the hospital right now. We'll go see her after breakfast." "Is my mom really okay?" Zhao Zijuan asked. "She really is." Enai Tsuehua patted his head, "Hurry and eat." Zhao Ziqing finished her meal before Zhao Zijuan and said to Enai Tsuehua, "Aunt, I don't want to go to the hospital. Can I go home instead? Today is the first day of the new year, and Dad said he would take me to Aunt Lin Fang's house to pay a New Year visit." The smile on Enai Kuihua's face turned rigid. Shengguan Dehui banged his chopsticks on the table, "Don't mention Lin Fang's name again." The air grew quiet. Zhao Ziqing was frightened into tears. All right, let's not scare the child during the holiday." Enai Tsuehua squatted down to comfort Zhao Ziqing. After breakfast, the family, carrying a thermos, went to the hospital to visit Shengguan Furong. When they arrived, Madame Shengguan was just coming out of the ward with a water bottle. "Why are you here so early? Have you eaten yet?" "I was just about to get some hot water from the boiler room." Shengguan Dehui asked, "Mother, has Furong woken up?" "She has." Madame Shengguan nodded. Shengguan Dehui glanced inside. "Has anyone from the Zhao family arrived yet?" Source: web novel. Com updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 711. Retribution _1 Lady Shengguan shook her head. From last night until now, no one from the Zhao family has shown their face. Hearing that, Shengguan Dihui's face was covered with a layer of anger. Enai Tsuehua took the water bottle from Lady Shengguan's hand. "Mom, I'll go fetch water, you go in and eat." Lady Shengguan nodded. They all went into the ward together. Shengguan Furong was sitting at the head of the bed. Her pale face lacked any color. Zhao Zijuan rushed over instantly. "Mom." "Zijuan." Zhao Ziqing stood by the side. She didn't like her mother. Because her mother never took care of her or looked after her. She liked her grandmother, her father, her brother, and Aunt Lin Fang. "Mom, you are okay, right?" Worry flickered in Zhao Zijuan's eyes. "Mom is okay." Shengguan Furong shook her head. Shengguan Dehui sat on the sofa without saying a word. Enai Yang set the thermos on the coffee table and scooped out a bowl of chicken soup for Shengguan Furong. "Auntie, drink soup." "Thank you, Yang." Zhao Zijuan took the chicken soup. "Mom, let me feed you." "All right," Shengguan Furong nodded. Zhao Zijuan carefully fed Shengguan Furong spoonfuls of chicken soup. The chicken soup contained Chinese medicine and tasted slightly bitter. As she drank, Shengguan Furong's eyes grew red. Only through a near-death experience did she come to realize. On this earth, nothing is as precious as life and familial love. The mood was slightly somber. After finishing the chicken soup, Shengguan Furong looked at Shengguan Dehui, who was sitting on the sofa. "Brother, I'm sorry. Do you realize your mistake?" Shengguan Dehui looked up. "I do," Shengguan Furong nodded. "I will live well from now on and won't do anything foolish." Shengguan Dehui continued. "Do you realize that it's not just Zhao Shen's fault, but you also made a mistake?" "Yes." Enai Yang stood up at the right moment. "Brother, Sister Xiaoxi, let's take Zijuan and Ziqing out for a walk. It's too stuffy in here." The grudges and disputes amongst the adults didn't do well for the children to hear. It wasn't good for their growth. "Okay." Shengguan Shi immediately responded. Shengguan Su carried little Enai Yun, while Enai Yang and Shengguan Shi, together with Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing, left the room. After the children left, the atmosphere in the ward became oppressive. Shengguan Dehui spoke silently. "Your domineering, unreasonable behavior and extremism have not only harmed yourself, but also almost harmed the two kids. If it weren't for Yang last night, had you jumped down with the two kids, do you know what the consequences would be?" Lady Shengguan sighed. Shengguan Furong lowered her head, tears falling from her eyes. What Shengguan Dehui said was true. In this marriage it wasn't just Zhao Shen's mistake, she also made mistakes. It was fortunate that last night she did not jump down with the two children. Otherwise it would have been a grave mistake. "Brother, I realize my mistake, I truly do." Shengguan Furong closed her eyes. Yang was right, a woman doesn't necessarily need to spend her lifetime with a man. So, I have decided to divorce Zhao Shen. I don't want anything else except the two children. This time she truly let go. Shengguan Dehui sighed, it's good if you can think clearly. In a while Anai Tsuehua walked in with the water bottle. The children also came in from outside. Having stayed in the hospital for so long, Zhao Ziqing was very bored. She looked up at Anai Tsuehua. Auntie, when can I go home? I miss my grandma, my dad. She originally wanted to add that she missed Aunt Lin Fang too, but when she saw Shengguan Dihui's face she swallowed the rest of her words. Anai Tsuehua felt a bit awkward for a moment, not knowing how to answer Zhao Ziqing. According to Shengguan Furong's intention, these two siblings probably wouldn't be going back to the Zhao family. They were two pitiful children. Shengguan Furong beckoned to Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing. Zijuan, Ziqing, both of you come here. Mom? Zhao Zijuan pulled Zhao Ziqing's hand and walked over. Zijuan, Ziqing, Shengguan Furong held the hands of the two siblings. Mother wants to ask you, do you want to go home? Zhao Ziqing instantly nodded, yes. What about you, Zijuan? Shengguan Furong looked at Zhao Zijuan. Zhao Zijuan, being slightly older than Zhao Ziqing, was quite mature for his age. He hesitated, I want to go home with Mom. Shengguan Furong smiled, Mom can't go back. She could never go back. Why? Zhao Zijuan asked. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 712. Retribution_2. Because your father is now with Aunt Lin Fang, Shengguan Furong replied calmly. Zhao Ziqing laughed and joined in, I really like Aunt Lin Fang. Shengguan Furong felt a sharp twist in her heart, but she maintained a smile on her face. Now, I would give both of you a choice. Do you want to be with your mom or your dad? I want to be with dad. Zhao Ziqing announced without hesitation. Zhao Zijuan hesitated for a moment. Mom, can I have both? Albeit young, Zhao Zijuan knew that once he chose one he would lose the other. He wanted both his father and mother. No, you can't. Shengguan Furong shook her head. Then, Zhao Zijuan didn't know how to choose. He didn't want to hurt his mother but he wanted to be with his father. The teacher once said that a mother is the greatest person in the world. Without his mother there would be no him. It was his mother who gave him life. It was also his mother who risked her life to give birth to him. If he chose dad, wouldn't mom be very sad? But if he chose his mother, what would happen to his father and grandmother? What should he do? Zhao Zijuan began to sob, and hastily wiped his eyes. The atmosphere instantly turned mournful. Both Madame Shengguan and Anai Tsuehua began to tear up. The most painful thing in this world is not death but separation in life. Brother, don't cry, let's choose dad. Zhao Ziqing tugged Zhao Zijuan's sleeve. Shengguan Furong reclined to the head of the bed and said with a light tone, Brother, please take them home. Furong, what about you? An alarmed Madame Shengguan exclaimed. Shengguan Furong shut her eyes. I respect the children's choice. She wasn't a qualified mother. She gave the children life but not the care and attention a mother should provide. This time she wouldn't force the children to stay by her side. Shengguan Dehui nodded, stood up and said, Zijuan, Ziqing, let's go. Zhao Ziqing held Zhao Zijuan's hand and said cheerfully, Great, I can go home now. Brother, let's go. Watching her children gradually disappear from her sight, Shengguan Furong couldn't help but succumb to her tears, falling like broken beads. Just as they were about to step out of the room, Zhao Zijuan abruptly freed himself from Zhao Ziqing's hand, sprinted to Shengguan Furong and wept, I want to be with Mom. I want to be with Mom. Mom, I'm not going. If both he and his sister left, then Mom would become all alone. He did not want to leave his mother alone. Zijuan. Shengguan Furong held Zhao Zijuan, sobbing uncontrollably. She did not anticipate that the one to stay with her in the end would be Zhao Zijuan. Nobody had expected Zhao Zijuan to suddenly run back. The atmosphere turned more oppressive and stifling. Brother, aren't you coming home with me? Zhao Ziqing tugged at Zhao Zijuan's sleeve. Ziqing, go home, I will stay with Mom. Zhao Zijuan wiped his tears, turned back to look at Shengguan Furong. Mom, can I still see Ziqing in the future? You can. Shengguan Furong nodded. Brother, Zhao Ziqing pulled at Zhao Zijuan's sleeve, I want to be with you. Let's go home together. The bond between these two siblings was really strong. They grew up together and could never bear to part with one another. This sudden separation caused Zhao Ziqing to break down in tears. Ziqing, be good, don't cry. Zhao Zijuan choked back a sob and forced a smile. He'll visit you when Mom gets discharged. I don't want to be separated from you, brother. Zhao Ziqing held onto Zhao Zijuan tightly. Madame Shangguan also broke down in tears. Furong, is this divorce absolutely necessary? She was pained for the children. Once Lin Fang enters the Zhao family, it is predictable that Zhao Ziqing's days won't be pleasant. Both young siblings, one without a father, the other without a mother. The divorce is necessary. Shangguan Furong held back her tears. Madame Shangguan sighed, how tragic. To avoid prolonged pain, Shangguan Dehui swiftly picked up Zhao Ziqing and moved forward. Zhao Ziqing cried and struggled, Uncle, let me go. I want my brother. Brother. Zhao Zijuan watched Zhao Ziqing. Ziqing, you must listen to dad and grandmother at home. Brother. Zhao Ziqing's crying gradually faded in the distance. Zhao Zijuan wiped his tears, turned back to look at Shangguan Furong and smiled, Mom, I'm okay. Good child. Good child. Madame Shangguan couldn't help but pulled Zhao Zijuan into her arms. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co, if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 713, Retribution _3. Shangguan Dehui drove all the way to bring Zhao Ziqing back to the Zhao family. After what happened last night, Shangguan Dehui couldn't face his own family. He was afraid of his impulse to hit Zhao Shen and crouched down to tell Ziqing, Ziqing, you should go in quick, your grandma and father are waiting for you inside. Zhao Ziqing's condition had stabilized a lot, but her eyes were still red. Uncle, aren't you coming in? Shangguan Dehui shook his head, Uncle has things to do, but he'll watch you from here until you go in. Zhao Ziqing said, Goodbye, Uncle. Goodbye. Shangguan Dehui watched Zhao Ziqing walk through the grand entrance and then he drove away. As soon as Zhao Ziqing entered the house, the butler noticed her. The young lady is back. Madam, the young lady is back. Butler grandfather. Zhao Ziqing sniffled. Madame Zhao was reciting sutras in the Buddha hall when she heard the butler's call. She came running out from inside. Ziqing is back. Where is your brother, Ziqing? Brother is with Mom. Zhao Ziqing answered. Is your mother all right? Madame Zhao asked in surprise. Zhao Ziqing nodded her head. Madame Zhao continued, Where is your mother now? Mom is at the hospital. Zhao Ziqing replied. Upon learning that Shangguan Furong was all right, Madame Shangguan sighed in relief. Amit Ba, thanks to the blessing of the Bodhisattva. It's good that she is all right. Who brought you home? Uncle brought me home, answered Zhao Ziqing. Grandma, brother doesn't want us anymore. I want brother. As she spoke, Zhao Ziqing began to cry. Madame Zhao was shocked. Ziqing, what happened? Through her sobs, Zhao Ziqing said, It was Mom. Mom made us choose between her and Dad. I chose Dad, brother chose Mom. Woo woo. I want brother. Madame Zhao's eyebrows knitted slightly, sensing an ominous premonition. Zhao Zijuan was their legitimate eldest grandson. How could he choose to stay with Shangguan Furong? This was definitely the doing of Shangguan family. Otherwise, why had they left Zhao Ziqing behind and only kept Zhao Zijuan? After all, Zhao Zijuan was a boy. Ziqing, don't cry. Your brother will be back. You play around at home first. Grandma is going to make a trip to see your mom. Grandma, are you going to bring brother back? Yes. Madame Zhao nodded her head. She needed to see what was up with Shangguan Furong, while also testing the attitude of the Shangguan family. Zhao Shen couldn't keep hiding all the time. Madame Zhao called the driver and made a trip to the hospital. She also brought along many nutritional supplements. When knocking at the door, Madame Zhao was very nervous. Yes, the Zhao family had not handled the incident well. She was an old lady, so the Shangguan family wouldn't physically harm her, would they? The one who opened the door was Enai Tsuehua. Madame Zhao smiled. Aunt. Enai Tsuehua nodded. You're here. Carrying her nutritional supplements, Madame Zhao walked in. Furong, are you okay? You gave me quite a scare last night. On seeing Madame Zhao, Shangguan Furong was initially stunned, then she shook her head. I'm okay now. That's good to hear. Madame Zhao turned her gaze to Madame Shangguan, her face full of guilt. Elder sister, our Zhao family has wronged you? As the wrong was not done by Madame Zhao, even if Madame Shangguan was angry, she wouldn't take it out on her. It's not your Zhao family that did us wrong. It's Furong who you've wronged. Yes, Furong could be a bit impulsive, but without Zhao Shen's indulgence over the years, could she have turned out this way? From the time of the incident last night to now, not a single person from your Zhao family has come over, not even a phone call. Doesn't human life mean anything to you? Furong might not be perfect, but she gave birth to 2 children for your Zhao family. Madame Shangguan's words were both factually and morally sound, so Madame Zhao found it difficult to refute. You're right, we didn't handle this incident appropriately. And Cuehua brought over a chair. Please sit. Thank you, Aunt. Madame Zhao sat down as instructed. Soon, an Yang came in with Zhao Zijuan. Seeing Madame Zhao, Zhao Zijuan ran over excitedly. Grandma. Zijuan. Madame Zhao patted Zhao Zijuan's head and asked with a smile, Zijuan, why didn't you come home with your sister? Zhao Zijuan shook his head. I want to stay and accompany Mom. Madame Zhao was stunned. She hadn't expected that Zhao Zijuan would voluntarily stay with Shangguan Farong. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 7:14. Retribution_4. Upon hearing Zhao Ziking's recount, she had assumed that the Shangguan family was deliberately keeping Zhao Zijuan from coming home. After all, Zhao Zijuan, who she personally raised, had no reason to abandon her. What on earth was going on? Madame Zhao continued, but your sister misses you so much at home, don't you want to play with her? Zhao Zijuan replied, once Mom is better, she will take me to see my sister. Grandma, rest assured, even if I'm by Mom's side, you will always be my grandma and I will take good care of you when I grow up. Madame Zhao's eyes reddened, she turned to Shangguan Farong. Farong? My boy is still so young, how can you bear? Shangguan Farong changed the subject. Mom, where is Zhao Xin? Why haven't we seen him? True enough. Where was Zhao Xin? He was the father of the two siblings and, technically, Shangguan Farong's husband. Today Madame Zhao could refrain from visiting the hospital, however, Zhao Xin must come. It was his responsibility as a father and a husband. Was a man's duty. Shangguan Dehui furrowed his brow. Madame Zhao seemed hesitant. He is feeling a bit under the weather, resting at home. Shangguan Farong was not suspicious, nodding her head. Then could you please tell him to come to the hospital once he feels better? I have something to discuss with him. What do you need to discuss with him? You can talk to me too, responded Madame Zhao. Just by looking at Shangguan Dehui's menacing face one could tell his prejudices. Would Zhao Xin live to tell the tale if he showed up now? Shangguan Farong calmly said, about the divorce. Divorce? Madame Zhao's eyes dimmed for a moment. Farong, have you thought it through? Shangguan Farong nodded. And what about Zijuan? Madame Zhao continued. Zijuan will stay with me, said Shangguan Farong. Madame Zhao was startled. Why? Shangguan Farong replied, it's Zijuan's own decision. But Zijuan is the blood of our Zhao family. Madame Zhao's voice filled with excitement. Shangguan Farong calmly replied, Zijuan is also the child I carried in my womb for 10 months. She almost died of heavy bleeding during birth. This was the foreshadowing of future trouble. After the near tragedy of childbirth, Zhao Xin cherished her and did not let her lift a finger. He even hired a nanny for their child. But Madame Zhao, who dotes on her grandson, took care of the child herself. She was treasured by the Zhao family and could act as she pleased. It was thanks to Zhao Xin's love and care that she, disregarding her childbirth trauma, had another child for him 2 years later, fulfilling Zhao Xin's dream of having both a son and a daughter. And after that, their love remained strong as ever. Zhao Xin always listened to her, even suggesting they have more children, but peculiarly, aside from Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing, she had no more children over the years. Madame Zhao continued, Farong, you can't be so heartless. The Zhao family has only Zijuan. If you take him away, it's like taking my life. Shangguan Farong was still as calm as ever. Mom, Ziqing is also the blood of the Zhao family. It's not the same. How could a boy and a girl be the same? A boy represents the heritage of a family. A daughters marry out like water poured out. Zhao Ziqing is going to marry sooner or later. Shangguan Farong continued, Mom, let Zhao Xin talk to me. At that time I will let Zijuan and Ziqing decide again. If both of them choose Zhao Xin, I will not object. She won't force things. Are you serious? Madame Zhao was suspicious of the authenticity of the situation. She suspected Shangguan Farong was tricking her, luring Zhao Xin out. Seriously, Shangguan Farong nodded. Madame Zhao continued, but Zhao Xin is a bit indisposed right now. After last night's harsh beating, the doctor says he needs to recuperate for some time. Did Zhao Xin run away? Shangguan Dehui unexpectedly interjected. Madame Zhao was taken aback. How did Shangguan Dehui know Zhao Xin had run away? Shangguan Dehui smiled. Madam, please go back and pass my message to Zhao Xin. As a man I despise him. He knew only to run when faced with a problem. Where was the dignity of a man? Madame Zhao said, Uncle, you misunderstood. Zhao Shen didn't run away, he is just seriously injured. The implication was that they, the Zhao family, had no intention to pursue Shangguan de Hui over this, thus Shangguan de Hui had no reason not to be pleased. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 7:15, Retribution_5. Now she was still inquiring about the whereabouts of Zhao Shen. Old lady, you should know about my temper. If I had really acted ruthlessly, he wouldn't have the strength to escape. Shangguan de Hui may have been angry last night, but he hadn't been harsh. Madame Shangguan stepped in at the right moment. All right, Ziking's grandmother, Furong needs to rest now. You should go back. When Zhao Shen recovers from his injury, then come over. Evading certain matters just won't do. Issues that need to be resolved still have to be resolved. Old Madame Zhao got up from the chair. If that's the case, then I'll leave first. Zijuan, would you like to come home with your grandmother? No, Zhao Zijuan shook his head. Grandma, you go ahead first. Zijuan, your little sister has been crying at home. She says that if you don't go back, she won't stop crying. Old Madame Zhao continued, you're a good big brother, can you bear to let Ziqing cry at home? Zhao Zijuan must not stay at the Shangguans. If the Shangguan family were to sow discord from within, bad-mouthing the Zhao family, and then Zhao Zijuan no longer recognized her as his grandmother or Zhao Shen as his father, what should she do then? Children are like blank sheets of paper, they will do as adults tell them to. Zhao Zijuan is the eldest grandson of the Zhao family, she couldn't let outsiders corrupt him. Zhao Zijuan continued, my little sister is very obedient, as long as you console her a bit more, she won't cry. Grandma, you go back first. Zijuan, don't you want your grandma anymore? Old Madame Zhao's eyes suddenly reddened. I am your real grandmother, Zijuan, don't you want your grandmother anymore? No, Grandma, it's not that I don't want you, I just want to stay with Mom. Grandma, you've always been my grandma. Zhao Zijuan became flustered. He didn't understand why it had come to this. And Yang came over and said, Grandma Zhao, since Zijuan doesn't want to go back with you right now, you should go first. Don't worry, nobody here will bully Zijuan. This is scaring him. And Yang's voice was light and gentle, pleasing to the ear. Old Madame Zhao sighed and finally let go of Zhao Zijuan. Then Grandma will go home first. Zhao Zijuan nodded. After old Madame Zhao left, Zhao Zijuan ran to Shangguan Furong. Mom, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere, I will stay here with you. Good. Shangguan Furong nodded. After old lady Zhao left the hospital, she felt uneasy no matter what. The longer Zhao Zijuan stayed at Shangguan's, the more likely he was to be brainwashed by the Shangguan family and might end up not recognizing anyone. It seemed she must quickly get in touch with Zhao Shen. After several transfers, old Madame Zhao finally met Zhao Shen in an inn. Lin Fong was also there. Mom, why are you here? Zhao Shen quickly put down his bowl and chopsticks. Since she had accepted Lin Fong as one of their own, old Madame Shangguan did not hesitate to tell them the whole story. Upon hearing this, Lin Fong could not hide her joy. Divorce? That's great. They were finally getting a divorce. Shenbao, Zijuan is our descendant of Zhao family, how can we just give him to the Shangguan family? Why don't you negotiate with Furong? Give Ziqing to her if it's okay, anyway we can't give Zijuan to her. As she spoke, old Madame Zhao started to cry. Lin Fong quickly said, Auntie is right, Zijuan carries the Zhao family's bloodline and heritage. We can't let the Shangguan family take him away. He's just a child. If he were to come back, it wouldn't pose any threat to her. She had her ways of dealing with children. Old Madame Zhao excitedly held Lin Fang's hand. Xiaolin understands me. Zhao Shen then asked, is Furong okay now? Old Madame Zhao said, good people don't live long, but the scourges last for 1,000 years. Rest assured she's fine. Zhao Shen breathed a sigh of relief. What about brother? Is he still angry? Old Madame Zhao frowned. Looking at Shangguan de Hui, I could tell he was still quite angry. How about this, you bring a few more people when you go. If he dares beat you, we won't be afraid of the Shangguan family. Things had come to this point and they could only risk a chance. Now you pack up and come back with me and we will discuss what we should do. Then we will pay a visit to the Shangguan family. All right. Zhao Shen nodded. Lin Fong returned to the Zhao family with them. The Zhao family was magnificent and luxurious. Comparing it to the Chang family was like comparing heaven and earth. Lin Fang felt extraordinarily pleased thinking about how she would soon become the mistress of this place. Source: web novel. Com updated on Envgo. Co if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 716, Retribution _6. I should go back home. My mother-in-law must be hungry by now. Lin Fang said, trying to gain Mrs. Zhao's favor in the late hour. Go on. Mrs. Zhao nodded approvingly, and as she watched Lin Fang leave, she spoke to Shenbao. She's a good woman. You won't make a mistake with her. Shenbao replied, nodding his head. After resting at home for another day, Shenbao took his daughter, Ziqing, to the hospital to see Shangguan Furong on the third morning. The ones accompanying Furong in the hospital that day were Mrs. Shangguan, Dehui, and Enai Tsuehua. No other younger family members were present. Upon seeing Shenbao, Dehui managed to suppress his urge to lash out, and his face darkened immeasurably. Mom, brother, Shenbao spoke up first. The room fell silent. No one responded. You're here, have a seat, Furong said, sitting up from the bed. When she addressed Shenbao, she remained incredibly composed. It's okay, I can stand, Shenbao said. He wasn't a fool to take a seat under such circumstances. Erase the divorce agreement, please read it. Furong handed the document to him. Shenbao was stunned at Furong's calm demeanor. He slowly took the agreement and began reading. Since Ziqing is here too, feel free to discuss with who they'd like to stay. Furong said nonchalantly. I want to stay with Dad. Ziqing stuck with her decision just like 4 days prior. She didn't hesitate to choose Shenbao. I choose my mom, Zijuan stated. Remembering his mother's request, Shenbao found himself at a loss for words momentarily before pleading. Furong, Zijuan is the only boy from the Zhao family, can you? That depends on Zijuan, responded Furong. As long as they're willing, I don't mind if both of them stay with you. Zijuan, don't you want to stay with your father and grandmother? Shenbao squat down to engage Zijuan. Zijuan replied, you have Ziqing to keep you and grandmother company. Dad, don't worry. Even if I stay with Mom, I will always be your son and I will always come home to visit you and Ziqing. If neither of them wants to stay with their mother, she's pitiful. Shenbao pondered, then asked, what if Ziqing wants to stay with her mom? Will you leave with me? Upon hearing this, not just Zijuan but also Furong, Dehui, Mrs. Shangguan, and even Enai Tsuehua were taken aback. No one expected Shenbao to consider giving up Ziqing for Zijuan. What was he thinking? Although Ziqing was young, she grasped the implication in her father's words and immediately began to cry, Dad, don't you want me anymore? Did Ziqing do something wrong? I want Dad. I don't want to stay with Mom. Shenbao was in immense pain. But he had no choice. He held Ziqing tightly. Ziqing, I'm sorry. Can you exchange places with your brother? Dad is begging you. He is kneeling down. With that, Shenbao knelt. No. No, wailed Ziqing, frightened, her crying intensifying. Shenbao. Are you even human? Dehui roared, yanking Shenbao to his feet. Uncle, don't hit my dad. Zijuan clung to Dehui's leg. Crying out loud, Shenbao confessed, I have no choice, no choice. He wanted both of his children, but it was impossible in this situation. For the sake of the children, Dehui then let go of Shenbao. Ziqing clung to her father's leg, bawling, Ziqing will be good and listen to Dad. Dad, don't abandon me. I don't want to stay with Mom. Mrs. Shangguan and Enai Tsuehua also started crying. What's happening here? Come with me, Dehui demanded, patting Shenbao's shoulder. Shenbao slowly rose to his feet. Uncle. Zijuan worried he was going to make things harder for Shenbao. Don't worry, Zijuan, I just want to talk to your dad. Dehui escorted Shenbao to an empty room next door, locked the door and without a word punched Shenbao in the face. This punch is for Furong and the kids. After this, you're no longer part of our family. You're an unworthy father and an unworthy husband. Shenbao's recently healed face started swelling again. Immediately after speaking, Dehui raised his fist again and Shenbao instinctively tried to dodge. But to his surprise, Dehui directed his punch toward his own face. Was he really hitting himself? Source: web novel. Com updated on Envgo. Co if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 717. Retribution _7. Zhao Shen was stunned. After the punch, Shangguan Dihui's face was red and swollen. He spat out a mouthful of blood on the ground. This punch, I owe it to your Zhao family. As the elder brother, I failed to manage my little sister properly, letting her do as she pleased and cause such a major disaster. Zhao Xin's infidelity was unforgivable. Shangguan Furong's arrogance fueled by favoritism too was unforgivable. Both of them were equally to blame. Brother, Zhao Xin choked out, I was wrong, I really was. Shangguan Dehui licked the back of his teeth. From now on, our two families will have no relation whatsoever. You should go back to addressing me as Mr. Shangguan. After finishing, Shangguan Dehui pulled open the door and left without looking back. Zhao Xin stood in place crying bitterly. Only after a while did he walk out of the room. Upon exiting, he discovered that Shangguan Dehui had not gone to the ward but was on the corridor, smoking a cigarette. It had been more than 20 years since he had seen Shangguan Dehui smoke. Go in. Shangguan Dehui extinguished the butt of the cigarette. Both their faces were red and swollen, an embarrassing sight that startled both Grandma Shangguan and Anai Tsuehua. Were these two men involved in a fight? Dehui, you? Shangguan Dehui waved his hand. It's okay, I knocked myself. What coincidence, the two of them bumped into something simultaneously. Zhao Xin signed his name on the divorce agreement and stamped his seal. At this real moment of relief he should feel relaxed, but for some reason his mood was surprisingly heavy, very heavy. Zhao Ziqing walked over and carefully tugged at Zhao Xin's clothes. Dad, you won't abandon me, right? No. Zhao Xin shook his head, handing over the signed divorce papers to Shangguan Furong. As he was leaving, Zhao Xin said, Ziqing, go hug your mother. No. Ziqing shook her head. She didn't like her mother, it was her mother who separated her and her brother. She would never forgive her mother in this lifetime. She liked Auntie Lin Fong. Let's go. Shangguan Dehui looked at everyone else then said, Ziqing, say goodbye to your grandmother, your mother, and your uncles. Goodbye. Zhao Ziqing waved her hand. Little sister, tears welled up in Zhao Zijin's eyes. Brother. Just as Zhao Ziqing was about to reach for Zijin's hand, Zhao Xin scooped her up. Ziqing, it's time for us to go home. Zhao Ziqing started crying and complaining. To prevent their mother from getting upset, Zhao Zijuan held back his tears. Shangguan Furong couldn't bear to see them this way. Zijuan, go see off your little sister. Zhao Zijuan sprinted out to chase after the departing black car, chasing it far and far away. Little sister, don't worry, I will come to see you. I promise. At the Zhao's family house. From the moment Zhao Xin left, Grandma Zhao had been standing at the gate, watching for Zhao Xin's return. At last she noticed the familiar car arriving. Grandma Zhao quickly rushed to greet it. Zijuan. But the ones who got out of the car were Zhao Xin and Zhao Ziqing. Zhao Zijuan was nowhere to be seen. Grandma Zhao's face turned ashen. Where's Zijuan? Zhao Xin reluctantly replied. Zijuan chose to go with Furong. What? Grandma Zhao raised her cane. Unfilial son. How could you let the bloodline of our Zhao family just slip away? Weren't you supposed to switch Ziqing and Zijuan? You unfilial son. After all, Shangguan Furong can still bear more children, but the Zhao family only has one eldest grandson. Zhao Ziqing, looking at Grandma Zhao, felt that her grandmother was a frightening stranger. Why didn't her grandmother want her? Zhao Xin sighed. Mother, Ziqing is also the flesh and blood of our Zhao family. Can they be the same? Go and bring Zijuan back immediately. Bring my great-grandson back. I want my great-grandson. Grandma Zhao cried and complained. Suddenly she blacked out and collapsed. Zhao Xin was frightened. Mom. The doctor soon arrived. After some resuscitation he sighed. The old lady has suffered a stroke as a result of acute anger. There is no immediate danger to her life now, but she will have after effects. What kind of after effects? Zhao Xin questioned impatiently. The doctor casually adjusted his glasses. She will be bedridden due to hemiplegia and will also have difficulty speaking. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 718. Anai Yang takes action. _1 Hearing the doctor's words, Zhao Xin felt a thud in his heart. Stroke? Paralysis? Is there any chance of my mother recovering? Zhao Xin asked next. The doctor shook his head regretfully. Zhao Xin's face turned terribly pale in an instant. How could this be? He clutched his head in agony, slowly sliding down until he sat against the door frame. Dad. Zhao Ziqing tugged at Zhao Xin's sleeve. Zhao Xin grabbed Zhao Ziqing and burst into loud sobs. Zhao Ziqing was also scared into crying. Upon learning that Madame Zhao had been paralyzed, Lin Feng was exceptionally pleased. Since times immemorial, the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law was the most complex. Now, once she married into the Zhao family, she wouldn't have to worry about this issue. Changyu also felt very happy. Even though she couldn't become the daughter of the Shangguan family, the Zhao family wasn't bad either. The Zhao family, after all, was also a prominent family. Her ultimate goal was to be a wealthy young lady. She didn't mind whose daughter she ended up as. "Mum, when can we move into the Zhao family's home?" Ever since Changyu witnessed the grandeur of the Zhao family, she became dissatisfied with her own home. Lin Feng narrowed her eyes. "Soon this time, there is no one to stand in our way." That very day, Lin Feng visited the Zhao family to offer Zhao Shen and Zhao Ziqing her warmth. Zhao Shen was moved by Lin Feng and gradually emerged from his grief. A month later, Shangguan Furong was successfully discharged from the hospital. And Lin Feng and Zhao Shen joyfully entered the realm of matrimony. Perhaps out of guilt or a wish to keep a low profile, they didn't have a big wedding, only inviting some of the Zhao relatives. Madame Zhao, sitting in her wheelchair, wore a look of contentment as she watched Zhao Shen and Lin Feng. It was okay for her to lose a grandson. Lin Feng was still young and able to bear children. She was certain that she could wait until the birth of her great-grandson. Madame Zhao's eyes were filled with determination. Changyu went from ordinary girl to wealthy daughter and suddenly became the center of attention. Everywhere she went, she was surrounded by people. Whenever she saw An Yang at school, she wore a contemptuous expression, acting as if her nose was in the air. What was An Yang? A petty trader who could not make a public appearance. She was the rich heir of the Zhao family. Could she even be compared with her? An Yang was there to take an entrance exam that day. As she walked to the classroom door, she was blocked by an arm. "What do you want?" Her eyes lifted slightly, her clear face tinged with a hint of anger. An Yang looked, "This is 20 yuan. If you crawl under my arm and bark like a dog, this money will be yours." Changyu held up 2 big notes, her face filled with satisfaction. Why did An Yang become a petty trader? Wasn't it for money? She could finally trample An Yang under her foot. With money, Changyu could make An Yang work like an ox or a horse. A good dog does not stand in the way. If you're sick, go to the hospital. The school is not a place for you to act out. An Yang gracefully raised her hand, seemingly without any effort, swiped off Changyu's arm. Changyu staggered, almost falling down. Changyu turned white with anger. "You dare to push me? So what if I pushed you?" An Yang turned her gaze back slightly, a touch of wanton smile on her lips. Not content. She was rather defiant. Changyu was almost choked to death by An Yang's attitude. When An Yang was a petty trader, she was suppressed by her. Now even though she has become a wealthy lady, An Yang still suppresses her. Why, on what basis does An Yang do this? An Yang, you little slut. You dare to push me. Do you know who I am? Do you know who my father is? Believe it or not, he'll tell my dad and you won't get away with it. Changyu hissed nastily. An Yang gave a slight smile. "I don't know who your dad is, but I know who your mom is, a mistress who is willing to sleep with any man. By the way, do you know what a mistress is? A person who deliberately interferes with other people's happy families. Seeing you being so smug, your mom must have been very successful in stealing someone else's man, right?" An Yang always had a score to settle. If Changyu didn't offend her, she naturally wouldn't divulge this matter in front of the whole class, but now Changyu made her uncomfortable and she didn't feel obliged to turn the other cheek. Moreover, she wasn't the type to pay back kindness with ingratitude. As soon as these words came out, the whole class, some dozens of pairs of eyes, all looked towards Changyu. A mistress. It wasn't a good reputation. No wonder Changyu suddenly became rich recently, and all the clothes she wore cost a couple of 100 yuan each. So it turned out that her mother had done something scandalous. Changyu's face suddenly turned white. Source: web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 719. An Yang takes action. _2. An Yang, that damn little bitch. How did she know? What are you spouting nonsense about? An Yang walked to her seat and meticulously arranged her books. If I'm spouting nonsense, you can sue me for defamation in court. Changyu had nothing to say, her feelings bottling up in her chest, making her feel suffocated. Just you wait. She will definitely get her revenge. Changyu turned around and walked out of the classroom. Anyway, she's now a wealthy young lady. Whether she studies or goes to college doesn't matter. She's not like An Yang, that little bitch who has to rely on university to change her life. The next day Shangguan Farong took Zhao Zijuan to the Zhao family to see Zhao Ziqing. But Lin Fang blocked the door and did not let her in. Lin Fang, you have no right to keep me out. Shangguan Farong squinted her eyes. Lin Fang said smugly, I am now the mistress of this house and I decide who can come in. I tell you now that you have no right to set foot in our house. Shangguan Farong did not want to argue with her. I am still Ziqing's mother. What right do you have to prevent me from coming in? Lin Fang gave Shangguan Farong a look. It depends on whether Ziqing still recognizes you as her mother. Ziqing, come here. Chang Yu, holding Zhao Ziqing's hand, came out. Mom, did you call me? Lin Fang nodded. Ziqing, come to Mom. Shangguan Farong was stunned. She did not expect Zhao Ziqing to switch so quickly. Is Lin Fang really that good? Making her call Mom so sweetly? Lin Fang pointed at Shangguan Farong. Ziqing, do you want this woman to come into our house? I don't want to. Zhao Ziqing shook her head. Zhao Zijuan got anxious. Sister. She is our mother. Zhao Ziqing said, she is not my mother. Aunt Lin Fang is 1,000 times better than Shangguan Farong. Zhao Ziqing continued, brother, you don't follow her. Come back to Mom and Dad or I'll ignore you. She's not our mother. Zhao Zijuan said, she is Aunt Lin Fang. Ziqing, how can you not even recognize your mother? Then you are not my brother. I don't want you anymore. Zhao Ziqing yelled out in anger. After yelling, Zhao Ziqing took Chang Yu's hand and said, Sister, let's go. Zhao Ziqing has been very happy during this time. Lin Fang treats her better than her own daughter, and she has long since forgotten others. Shangguan Farong watched Zhao Ziqing's departing figure in disbelief, her eyes slowly turning red. This was her own doing, she could blame no one else. Lin Fang scoffed and said, see, it's your own daughter who doesn't recognize you. It has nothing to do with me. Hurry up and leave, you are not welcome here. A divorced woman still wandering around, aren't you ashamed? Shangguan Farong took a deep breath. Where is Zhao Shen? I want to see Zhao Shen. She had a peaceful divorce with Zhao Shen. They agreed during their divorce that as long as Zijuan misses them, he can visit the Zhao family at any time. Zhao Shen will not see you get out. If I have to call the servants, it will be embarrassing for everyone. Don't think Lin Fang didn't know what Shangguan Farong was thinking. She just wanted to seduce Zhao Shen to rekindle their old flame, right? No way. It had only been 3 days since she had married Zhao Shen, and here was Shangguan Farong, already trying to interfere. How shameless. As long as she was there, she would never let Shangguan Farong see Zhao Shen. Mom, let's go. Zhao Zijuan tugged at Shangguan Farong's sleeve. I don't want to see Dad anymore, and I don't miss Grandma. He didn't want his mother to bear the brunt of others' displeasure. Aunt Lin Fang was quite gentle and kind before, but he didn't know why she had changed like this now. However, as long as he knew that his sister was doing well now, he was at ease. Before Shangguan Farong could respond, Lin Fang slammed the front gate shut, and ordered the servants not to open the door to Shangguan Farong in the future. On their wedding day, Lin Fang dismissed the old butler, and there was a major reshuffling of the Zhao family's staff. Now, the Zhao family was no longer what it used to be. As soon as Lin Fang entered the villa, Zhao Shen came out from inside. Who was that outside just now? Just someone asking for directions. Lin Fang replied. Oh. Zhao Shen nodded, not suspecting anything. To demonstrate her devotion and virtues, Lin Fang then said, Shen, let me take care of our mom from now on. No matter what, the servants are outsiders and am a little worried. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 720, An Yang takes action. _3. Lady Zhao is now unable to speak. Even if the maid treats her badly, she can't voice it. In fact, Zhao Shen is quite concerned. Zhao Shen trusts Lin Fang more than other maids. Zhao Shen nodded with a smile. Then I'll have to trouble you. It's not troublesome. Lin Fang shook her head. This is what I should do as a daughter-in-law. I also have experience from taking care of my mother-in-law. Lady Chang is now also living at Zhao's house. Her condition is similar to Lady Zhao's, paralyzed and mute. Zhao Shen said emotionally, Lin Fang, to be able to marry you, is my good fortune for 3 lifetimes. Lin Fang's face flushed. Then that night, to show that she really had experience and devotion, Lin Fang changed Lady Zhao's diapers and cleaned her in front of Zhao Shen. There was a particular smell in the room, but Lin Fang's face was full of smiles. In the twinkling of an eye, a month passed during which Lin Fang took care of Lady Zhao. She was feeling more and more uncomfortable. After all, which wealthy lady needs to personally take care of the elderly? Zhao Xun was very busy, becoming unavailable at home after the third day of their marriage. He didn't even see her hardship. When he occasionally visited, she had to try her best to please Zhao Xun. What is this? Why was it that when Shangguan Furong was here, everyone in the Zhao family treated her like a princess, but when she arrived she had to be the maid, serving this and that? Does she deserve to be Zhao's old maid? This cannot go on. She came to the Zhao's home to enjoy a life of leisure. Lin Fang suppressed her frustrations and with a bowl of chicken soup she opened the door to Lady Zhao's bedroom. Mom. Hearing Lin Fang's voice, Lady Zhao turned to look at her. Over the past few days, Lin Fang had been serving her diligently, and Lady Zhao was very satisfied with this new daughter-in-law. Mom, drink soup. Lin Fang scooped up a spoonful of chicken soup to feed Lady Zhao. It had a strong scent of Chinese medicine. Lady Zhao turned her head, not wanting to drink. Now she couldn't speak and could only express herself through actions. If it was a few days ago, Lin Fang would definitely kindly say, "Mom, if you don't want to drink it, I'll get you another bowl." But Lin Fang did not have such patience today. Thinking of this, Lin Fang slammed the chicken soup on the table, expressing angrily, "Drink it or don't." Lady Zhao widened her eyes in disbelief looking at Lin Fang. Was she hallucinating? Lin Fang didn't care and turned to walk out the door. Lady Zhao lay in bed, her mouth open making ah sounds, her body twisting. What's wrong now? Lin Fang turned back to look at Lady Zhao. Ah. Because of a stroke, Lady Zhao was now twisted and could not even make regular expressions, only able to stare at Lin Fang. Just as Lin Fang got to the bed, she smelled a foul odor. Defecation again. Over the past few days, Lin Fang had cleaned up Lady Zhao's feces and urine countless times, and at this moment, smelling this made her feel sick enough to vomit. Lady Zhao could do nothing but watch Lin Fang shed tears. After venting her frustrations, Lin Fang headed downstairs. Zhao Ziqing and Chang Yu were just coming in. Mom? Sister is taking my things. Zhao Ziqing ran over to complain. What's yours? That piano is a gift from Dad to me. Chang Yu said angrily. Becoming the Zhao family's daughter seems glamorous on the surface, but in reality she's been taking hits from all sides. She's obviously much older than Zhao Ziqing, yet Zhao Ziqing bosses her around. Such dominance at such a young age. A child born of a mother, yet not educated by one. That's my dad. This is my house. You have no shame. Zhao Ziqing continued, Mom, you criticize big sister. She's the older one, she should give in to the younger one. Lin Fang treats her very well, almost indulging her in every way. Even if it's her fault, Lin Fang would stand by her side. Who'd you say has no shame? Lin Fang looked at Zhao Ziqing with a smile on her face. Zhao Ziqing thought Lin Fang was going to support her, pointing at Chang Yu and said, She has no shame. Dad is my dad, that piano Dad bought is mine. Lin Fang's face stiffened. Who has no shame? Say it again. Even Chang Yu was stunned. Mom. Lin Fang said, Xiao Yu, from today you do not need to give in to her. Zhao Ziqing's eyes welled up, she began to cry loudly, Dad. Woo, shut up. Lin Fang no longer wanted to pretend. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 721. Ai Yang takes action. _4. She had had enough. Lin Fang's cheekbones were naturally higher than the average person. At this moment, with her face stern, she looked like a terrifying demon, her fierce appearance was scary. It was a stark contrast to her usual gentle demeanor. Chang Yu moved to Lin Fang's side, watching Zhao Ziqing's retreating figure and worriedly said, Mom, what if she complains? Zhao Ziqing and the old lady Zhao were different. Old lady Zhao could not speak or move, not even a hint of facial expression. But Zhao Ziqing was 8 years old this year, able to speak clearly. She tells Zhao Shen it would be hard to explain. Lin Fang smiled and said, Don't worry, I have ways to keep her quiet. Seeing Lin Fang's confidence, Chang Yu breathed a sigh of relief. In the night, Zhao Ziqing curled up in the cold bed, staring at the family photo on the desk and silently shed tears. She missed her dad, missed her brother, and a little bit she also missed her mother. Despite being a bad mother, she had never hurt her. She guessed that Zhao Shen would be returning soon. Lin Fang's attitude had improved quite a bit these few days. On the third day Zhao Shen really did return. Lin Fang made sure Zhao Ziqing was all dressed up and ready in the living room to greet Zhao Shen. Dad. Ziqing. Zhao Shen picked Zhao Ziqing up. Have you been getting along well with your mom at home these days? Zhao Ziqing first glanced at Lin Fang then nodded. Very well, I really like Mom. Hearing this, a satisfied smile appeared on Lin Fang's face. Zhao Shen said, That's good, shall we go and see how Granny is doing? Lin Fang was fully prepared. Granny Zhao's room was spotlessly clean. The bedding had all been changed and there was incense burning in the room. There was not any hint of an unpleasant smell. Satisfied on seeing how well Lin Fang had taken care of Granny Zhao, Zhao Shen was instantly relieved. But meanwhile, Granny Zhao was twisting her body and grunting angrily. Tears filled her eyes. Mom, what's wrong with you? Zhao Shen asked anxiously. Granny Zhao couldn't speak and could only look at her son in distress. Lin Fang chimed in from one side. Dear Shen, Mom has been like this lately. I had Dr. Xie look at her. Dr. Xie said our mom is desperately longing to hold her great-grandson, causing a bit of mental distress. It's alright, you don't need to worry. Is it serious? Zhao Shen continued. I think my mom's complexion has worsened recently. She also seems to have lost a lot of weight. He remembered that when he left, Granny Zhao was in high spirits. But now, her face was dull and lifeless, like a plant losing its gloss. She seemed to have aged more than 10 years. It's not serious. Lin Fang shook her head. Dr. Xie said that people with troubled hearts usually look this way. Moreover, Mom originally had a stroke due to distress. As long as we take care of her, it will be fine. Zhao Shen sighed in relief. That's good. He was a filial son and couldn't bear to see Granny Zhao suffer at all. The fact that he hadn't brought Zhao Zijuan back home, resulting in Granny Zhao ending up in this condition, had already made him feel very guilty. That's not the case. Lin Fang is a wicked woman. Granny Zhao gazed at Zhao Shen, her eyes wide open, making constant noises. But how could Zhao Shen understand Zhao Granny's intention? He wasn't a mind reader. Lin Fang continued, Dear Shen, Dr. Xie said our mom needs plenty of rest for her illness. We should not disturb her rest. Look, she's even getting upset. All right. Zhao Shen nodded. Let's go. Don't go. Zhao Shen, don't go. You've been fooled by Lin Fang, the wicked woman. Granny Zhao watched Zhao Shen's retreating figure. Anxiety filled her eyes. However, Zhao Shen still followed Lin Fang and left. Seeing the now closed door, Granny Zhao felt as lifeless as ashes. Oh God. It would have been better for her to die than live through such agony. But, on second thought, if she died there would be no one to expose Lin Fang's crime. So she must live on. She must live on. There was a firm resolve in Granny Zhao's eyes. Zhao Shen stayed at home for 2 days during his return. Granny Zhao and Zhao Ziqing also had 2 peaceful days. But as soon as Zhao Shen left, Lin Fang resumed her true nature. Zhao Ziqing now really liked going to school. She was extremely afraid of spending time at home. She also missed her brother and mother more and more. She hoped that her brother and mother could come to see her again. In fact, Shengguan Farong did came, but was stopped by Lin Fang at the door as usual. Shengguan Farong returned with Zhao Zijuan. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 722. Ni Yang takes action. _5. Auntie, didn't you take Zijuan back home to see Ziqing? Ni Yang was a bit surprised to see Shengguan Farong return so quickly. Shengguan Farong sighed. Lin Fang didn't want to let us in. Last time she had at least seen Zhao Ziqing, but this time, Zhao Ziqing hadn't appeared at all. Lin Fang didn't want to? Ni Yang furrowed her brows slightly. Then did you see Uncle Zhao? Shengguan Farong shook her head. No. Ni Yang continued. Auntie, I think you need to have a good talk with Uncle Zhao. There seems to be something fishy about this. Although Zhao Shen was disloyal to love, his character wasn't the worst. This could be seen from the fact he gave half of his properties to Shengguan Farong. Shengguan Farong hesitated for a moment, then said, Okay, I'll go find him now. Shengguan Farong and Zhao Shen had been a couple for half a lifetime. It would be easy for her to find Zhao Shen. Zhao Shen was surprised to see Shengguan Farong actively seeking him out. He had thought that he and Shengguan Farong would never interact for the rest of their lives. Over the past couple of months, Shengguan Farong seemed to have changed a lot. And yet it seemed like nothing had changed. Shedding her intimidating demeanor, she had become a lot more gentle, and there was an added softness in her eyes. Zhao Zijuan was overjoyed to see Zhao Shen, running over excitedly. "Dad! My son!" Zhao Shen lifted Zhao Zijuan into his arms. Zhao Zijuan wrapped his arms around Zhao Shen's neck. "Dad, this is the best. You haven't abandoned me. I thought you didn't want me anymore." "Nonsense. How could Dad ever abandon you?" Shengguan Furong spoke at the right moment. "Zijuan and I have returned twice but were turned away both times. That's why Zijuan thought you didn't want him anymore." "Returned?" Zhao Shen frowned slightly. "When did you return?" "Nobody told me." Shengguan Furong replied, "On the third day after you and Lin Fang received your marriage certificate, Zijuan said he missed you guys, so I took him back once. We also returned today but Lin Fang wouldn't let us in. She said you didn't want to see us." Zhao Shen didn't say anything. He seemed to remember that day he asked who was at the door, but Lin Fang said it was someone asking for directions. What's going on? Lin Fang was never a petty person. Why would she hide this? Zhao Shen continued, "There must have been some misunderstanding. I've just finished my work for today, so I'll take you two back. Mom will be thrilled to see Zijuan." "Okay," Shengguan Furong nodded. Zhao Shen drove with the mother and son away. Zhao Zijuan sat in the passenger seat while Lin Fang sat in the rear. Zhao Zijuan hadn't seen Zhao Shen for a long time. Now father and son had a belly full of words to share. The car was getting closer and closer to the villa. A servant rushed back into the villa. "Ma'am, the master has returned." At this time Lin Fang was venting her anger by beating Zhao Ziqing. At the news she was startled. "What?" A glimmer of hope flashed in Zhao Ziqing's eyes. "Great. Dad's back." "Dad's back, she wouldn't have to be beaten." "The master returned with," the servant repeated. Lin Fang swiftly hid the needle. "You beast, go back to your room and read. If you dare to say anything out of line, he'll kill you." Then she ordered, "Have someone tidy up Madame's room." "All right," the servant nodded, quickly finding another servant to go upstairs. Lin Fang adjusted her hair and clothes and went towards the door. Just as she was out the door, she saw Zhao Shen step out of the car. Before she could react, the car door in the rear opened and Shengguan Furong came out. Shengguan Furong? How did she get here? What a shameless hussy. Lin Fang was fuming but had to maintain a pleasant smile on her face, stepping forward courteously. "Brother Shen, welcome back. Sister Furong is also here, come inside." Shengguan Furong looked at Lin Fang and said, "You really are quick at changing faces." Lin Fang stepped back as forward, her eyes watering up. "Sister Furong, I know I wronged you, it's only right for you to dislike me." Shengguan Furong impatiently brushed her off. "I don't have time to watch your theatrics. Zijuan, let's go inside to see Grandma and your sister." "Okay." Zhao Zijuan cheered and ran into the house. This was once Zhao Zijuan's home, and he was familiar with every corner of the villa. Seeing the place he had once lived in, Zhao Zijuan almost started to cry. Source: web novel. Com updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 723. Ni Yang takes action. _6. This place isn't his home anymore. Zhao Zijuan rushed all the way to Zhao Ziqing's bedroom. "Little sister. Little sister." Was this his brother's voice? Zhao Ziqing thought she was hearing things. After all, she would often hear her mother and brother's voices in her dreams recently. Only when she opened the door did she realize she wasn't hallucinating. Zhao Ziqing embraced Zhao Zijuan tightly and began to cry. "Brother." "Whoa. I'm sorry, brother. I missed you so much." Lin Fang stood behind, a displeased expression in her eyes. "Little beast. Just wait till everyone leaves, shall see how he'll deal with her." "It's okay, little sister. Confucius once said, which person without faults isn't a sage. So, brother forgives you." "Thank you, brother." Zhao Ziqing wanted to hug Shengguan Furong again, but she dared not. She was afraid Lin Fang would stab her with a needle again. Zhao Zijuan then asked, "Where's Grandma? Should we visit her?" Zhao Shen stepped forward. "Grandma is upstairs, I'll take you up." At this point Lin Fang stepped in. "Mom just went to sleep. Why don't we go downstairs for some tea first, then visit her after a while? It hasn't been long. What if things upstairs aren't cleaned up yet?" Zhao Shen, being an obedient son, turned to Shengguan Furong. "Should we wait a while before going to see Mom?" Shengguan Furong glanced at her wristwatch. "All right." They waited downstairs for over half an hour before Zhao Shen took them upstairs. Upstairs was already tidied up. Old Lady Zhao was lying in bed. tears of excitement filling her eyes when she saw Shangguan Furong and Zhao Zijuan approach. "This isn't a dream, is it? Grandma." Zhao Zijuan sprinted over. Seeing Zhao Zijuan, whom she had been missing terribly, old lady Zhao momentarily forgot about her anger. Seeing old lady Zhao on the bed, Shangguan Furong asked in surprise, "What happened to her?" Having been mother and daughter-in-law with old lady Zhao for over a decade and calling Mrs. Shangguan mom for so many years, some habits can't be changed overnight. Moreover, old lady Zhao had been truly kind to her in the past. She didn't realize this until now. Old lady Zhao was fed up with her, which led to her subsequent actions, so now Shangguan Furong didn't blame her. She didn't blame anyone. Zhao Xin sighed. A while ago she was shocked and suffered a stroke. She's been like this ever since. "Did you get a doctor to look at her?" Shangguan Furong asked. "Yes." Zhao Xin nodded. Shangguan Furong pressed on. "What did the doctor say?" Zhao Xin sighed again, remaining silent for fear that old lady Zhao would be heartbroken if she heard. Shangguan Furong slightly frowned, walked over to old lady Zhao. "Mom, how are you feeling now?" Old lady Zhao could not say anything, only making whimpering noises. "Mom, do you have something to tell me?" As people who had spent over a decade together, Shangguan Furong immediately understood old lady Zhao's intentions. The whimpering got louder. Shangguan Furong continued, "If you have something to say to me, please blink your eyes." Old lady Zhao blinked. Lin Fang knew something was amiss, fearing Shangguan Furong would find out something. She immediately walked over and said, "Sister Furong, Mom hasn't seen Zijuan in such a long time. She's probably thankful that you brought him over today." While saying this, she gave old lady Zhao a warning look. Shangguan Furong continued, "Zhao Xin, I know a doctor who might be able to help Mom." "Who?" Zhao Xin asked eagerly. Hope appeared in old lady Zhao's eyes. "Yang Yang." Shangguan Furong replied. These days she had seen what Enai Yang could do and believed that Enai Yang could cure old lady Zhao. "Yang Yang?" Zhao Xin furrowed his brows. "But isn't Yang Yang only 19? Upon hearing this, Lin Fang felt relieved. 19? What could a little girl of 19 know about medicine? Shangguan Furong continued, "Yang Yang is really incredible. Do you remember that kid Guobao from the Yang family?" "I do." Zhao Xin nodded. Shangguan Furong said, "Guobao was cured by Yang Yang. Now everyone calls Yang Yang the little divine doctor." Hearing this, Zhao Xin had some expectations. "Then let's invite Yang Yang over now." "They'll go." Shangguan Furong said, "Zijuan, stay here with Dad." Luckily today was a weekend, both Enai Yang and Enai Tsuihua were at the Shangguans. Soon Shangguan Furong had brought Enai Yang over. Seeing Enai Yang, Lin Fang was astonished. Wasn't this girl the one who was with Mrs. Shangguan at the clothing store last time? She called Shangguan Furong auntie. Could it be that her mother married Shangguan Dehui? My God. Could the incident at the clothing store have been orchestrated by Enai Yang? A fury rose in Lin Fang's heart. Zhao Xin said, "Yang Yang, we're counting on you to help Mom. I'll do my best." After saying this, Enai Yang went over to old lady Zhao's side to check her pulse. Old lady Zhao's condition was very serious, far worse than Enai Yang had imagined. Enai Yang slightly furrowed her brows, the long lashes casting a faint shadow on her eyelids. Lin Fang smirked mockingly, "I heard from Sister Furong that little divine doctor is very proficient. I'm sure the little divine doctor can cure Mom's illness, right?" "Divine doctor?" She looked more like a quack to her. A youngster coming out to swindle others. Enai Yang looked back at Lin Fang with a smile, the corners of her mouth revealing a light dimple. "I may not have other talents, but I do have ways to make old lady Zhao speak." Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 724. Revealing the Truth. _1 Could Enai Yang really get Madame Zhao to speak? How could that be possible? Does she think she's an immortal fairy? Upon hearing this, Lin Fang was neither flustered nor surprised, she almost wanted to laugh. The little divine doctor must be a very competent person then. Enai Yang smiled faintly, did not respond, just pulled out a gold needle from her bag, and unblocked the acupoints of Madame Zhao. A gentle breeze lifted the curtain. Despite the winter weather, Enai Yang, dressed in a plain white cheongsam with a light purple coat over it, did not seem to feel the cold at all. Her fair fingers skillfully handled the gold needle, puncturing accurately into the acupoints. Everything looked as serene as a painting. During the acupuncture, Madame Zhao slowly closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep. Zhao Shen anxiously asked, Yang, what's wrong with my mom? Lin Feng was shocked. Mom, she isn't. Is she dead? It would be great if the old lady was dead. If she was dead, Lin Feng wouldn't have any concerns. Lin Feng was exhilarated. This could give her the perfect opportunity to put Ni Yang and Shangguan Furong behind bars. For causing harm to others. This was no minor crime. If the old lady died and, incidentally, she got rid of Shangguan Furong and Ni Yang, it would be killing two birds with one stone. It's fine, said Ni Yang while maintaining her composure. She just fell asleep because I hit the onion acupoint. Oh. Zhao Shen nodded in relief. After hearing this, Lin Feng was utterly disappointed. Not dead? But even if she didn't die, she probably wouldn't live much longer anyway. Ni Yang could at best be said to be attractive. How could she possibly know genuine medical skills? Just then, footstep sounds could be heard from outside the door. Chang Yu walked in from outside. Mom, Dad, I heard a miracle doctor is treating Grandma. I came especially to take a look. Xiaoya, come over here. Let me introduce you, this is your Aunt Furong. And this miracle doctor is your Aunt Furong's niece. Lin Feng deliberately put emphasis on the term miracle doctor, somewhat mocking. Upon seeing Ni Yang, Chang Yu was completely taken aback. Ni Yang? A business owner appearing at the Zhao family home? Was the Zhao family a place she could enter? What miracle doctor? Isn't she just a noodle shop owner? Chang Yu said dismissively. A noodle shop owner. Upon hearing this, Lin Feng's smirk became more pronounced. She laughed and said, This is the first time I've heard that a noodle seller could become a miracle doctor. Chang Yu continued, Dad, don't be fooled by her. This Ni Yang was my classmate, she was just a noodle seller and wouldn't know anything about medicine. What if something happens to Grandma during her treatment? Who will be responsible then? Could such a small business owner be trusted? Lin Feng was displeased. Xiaoya, what are you talking about? This little miracle doctor here is your Aunt Furong's niece. After all, your Aunt Furong and your grandmother have the in-law relationship. How could she possibly harm your grandmother? Although these words seemed to be defending Shangguan Furong, on the contrary they covertly hinted that Shangguan Furong wanted to harm Madame Zhao. Only then did Chang Yu understand what Lin Feng meant. Ni Yang was now Shangguan Furong's niece? What happened? Could it be that Ni Yang's mother had married into the Shangguan family? If that was the case, then the incident in the clothing store the other time was definitely planned out by Ni Yang. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence? Almost instantaneously, Chang Yu and Lin Feng were on the same page. Ni Yang, this scumbag. She was really shameless. Chang Yu narrowed her eyes. I am not talking nonsense. Mom, you go and ask around on the streets, how many noodle vendors can practice medicine? This person was brought here by Aunt Furong, right? Aunt Furong should take full responsibility if anything happens to Grandma, right? Shangguan Furong stood up from her chair. You mother and daughter should stop your duo. If something does happen to mother today, I, Shangguan Furong, will take full responsibility. I won't let anyone else get implicated. Furong, don't get angry, I trust you, said Zhao Shen and then turned to Lin Feng and Xiaoya. You two have no manners. Lin Feng was normally a person who was good at accommodating people's moods, but today she didn't know what happened. She kept provoking Shangguan Furong and Ni Yang. Lin Feng played the victim. Xiaoya and I are also considering for Mom's sake. Mom is already so seriously ill towards the end she was crying so hard she couldn't speak. If an outsider saw this they would really think Lin Feng was a filial and good daughter-in-law. Zhao Shen sighed, alright, I got it. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 725. Revealing the Truth. _2. While the group was arguing, Ni Yang remained calm, appearing to be indifferent to the situation. When Zhao Shen walked back to the bedside, he was astonished to find that Mrs. Zhao's facial features had returned to their original positions. She had been disfigured due to the stroke, but now she had miraculously recovered. This was truly extraordinary. At the same time, Mrs. Zhao slowly opened her eyes, and the murkiness at the bottom of her eyes gradually cleared. Mom? Zhao Shen joyfully said, Mom, how are you feeling now? Are you feeling better? Looking at Zhao Shen, Mrs. Zhao's eyes suddenly reddened. Wait. Lin Feng gasped in surprise, rushed to the bedside, and forced out a couple of crocodile tears. Mom. You're awake. You finally woke up. You scared me to death just now. Mrs. Zhao stared at Lin Fang, making whimpering sounds from her throat, as if she was accusing Lin Fang of her wrongdoings. Seeing that Mrs. Zhao still couldn't speak, Lin Fang breathed a sigh of relief. "Divine Doctor, didn't you say you could get my mother to speak?" Lin Fang looked at An Yang. An Yang opened her medicine box, took out a syringe and various Western medications. "It just needs one last injection, don't rush." Although she practiced traditional Chinese medicine, she didn't belittle Western medicine. Sometimes, the combination of both can produce better therapeutic effects. Mrs. Zhao glared fiercely at Lin Fang. If stairs could kill, Lin Fang would already have been dead hundreds of times over. Lin Fang asked, "Mom, do you want to say something?" The whimpering sound grew louder and Mrs. Zhao's eyes got bigger and bigger. Lin Fang continued, "Mom, I understand what you mean. Do you want to stop the Divine Doctor from treating you? Did she hurt you? I get it, don't worry. I am here today. I will protect you and not let anybody touch you." In reality, at this moment, Lin Fang was feeling somewhat anxious. Because An Yang did indeed restore Mrs. Zhao's facial features to their original position. What if she accidentally enables Mrs. Zhao to speak, then what? No way. She can't afford to take that risk. Chang Yu immediately detected Lin Fang's intentions and quickly stood beside Lin Fang. "Right, Grandma? My mom and I will protect you and won't let anyone hurt you." An Yang just watched the mother-daughter duo, a faint smile playing at the corner of her mouth, but her eyes were icy. "What are you panicking for? Are you that afraid it'll cure Mrs. Zhao?" Turning to them, An Yang continued, "Or did you do something shameful and want to cover it up?" Lin Fang was already feeling guilty at this moment, and these words hit a nerve. "What nonsense are you spewing? What shameful thing have I done?" An Yang maintained her composure. "Are you angry out of shame?" "What do you mean I'm angry out of shame? I think you're just talking rubbish." Lin Fang grabbed An Yang's hand and started to cause trouble. "Come on. You must clarify what you meant today. If not, I won't let this go." "Let go." An Yang slightly frowned. Lin Fang continued, "If you don't clarify your comments today, I won't let go. Although I, Lin Fang, am just a woman, I can't let others falsely accuse me." How could she let go at this moment? If she let go, wouldn't it mean she was admitting her wrongdoings? "Lin Fang, don't disturb Yang Yang's treatment of Mom." Zhao Shen pulled Lin Fang away. Lin Fang quickly replied, "Brother Shen, this An Yang harbors ill intentions. She even falsely accused me of doing something shameful. She frankly has no medical skills, don't be fooled by her. And also, Mom said she's unwilling to let her treat her." "Mom's right, Dad, don't be fooled by her. I was An Yang's classmate, no one knows her better than I do." Chang Yu said. Mrs. Zhao anxiously whimpered. Lin Fang seized the opportunity and said, "Brother Shen, look at Mom's current state. It's quite clear she doesn't want An Yang to continue treating her." The whimpering became louder as Mrs. Zhao was afraid Zhao Shen would believe Lin Fang's lies. Lin Fang continued, "Brother Shen, hurry up and ask them to leave." Zhao Shen's face darkened and he said to Lin Fang, "Shut up." This was the first time Zhao Shen lost his temper since they got married. Both Lin Fang and Chang Yu were scared. They'd assumed Zhao Shen was spineless after seeing how he was completely enthralled by Shangguan Farang. Who would have thought Zhao Shen did indeed have a temper? "I'm sorry, Yang Yang, that you had to witness this farce." Zhao Shen turned to look at An Yang. "Yang Yang, please continue. Don't worry, I believe in you." Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 726. Revealing the Truth. _3. An Yang nodded, squeezed out the air in the syringe and aimed it at the vein on Granny Zhao's arm. The room fell quiet. Everyone's gaze was focused on An Yang and Granny Zhao. According to An Yang, after this injection, Granny Zhao should be able to speak. Could it be true? Especially Lin Fang and Chang Yu, their hearts were beating anxiously. What if Granny Zhao really could talk? What would they do then? Would Zhao Shen kick them out of the Zhao family? Zhao Shen walked over, nervously asking, "Mom, how are you feeling now?" The only response to Zhao Shen was a hum. Lin Fang's tense heart finally relaxed. Good. She knew this An Yang was not capable. Chang Yu snorted. "Didn't someone just swear that my grandmother could speak after the injection?" An Yang didn't get angry. His handsome face remained calm as he walked over to Granny Zhao and removed the golden needle from the Suliu acupoint. "Granny, how do you feel now?" Granny Zhao looked at An Yang. Her stiff throat seemed to ease up and she tried to say something. Ah? Smoke. Smoke. She could speak. She finally could speak. Yang Yang. Mom, you can speak. Zhao Shen rushed over. Shen Bao. Granny. Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing also came over. Zijuan, Ziqing. Granny Zhao's eyes turned red. Lin Fang stared at this scene, almost dumbfounded, a chill rising from the bottom of her heart. How is this possible? What should she do? What should she do now? Chang Yu was even more panic-stricken. She was not unaware of what her mother had done. This old lady would surely tattle now. Was she, a spoiled princess, about to be kicked out of her home after only a month? As expected, Granny Zhao's next words were, Shen Bao, call the police immediately and arrest these venomous mother-daughter duo. What? Zhao Shen was stunned for a moment. Granny Zhao tearfully accused Lin Fang of her crimes. Zhao Shen's face gradually turned cold. He never thought that the kind-hearted Lin Fang could be so malicious. Upon hearing that his granny had suffered so much recently, Zhao Zijuan rushed over to hit Lin Fang. Evil woman. You evil woman. How could you bully my granny? Lin Fang also panicked, falling to her knees with a thud, her face pale as a sheet. I really didn't, Brother Shen. Granny has falsely accused me. If you didn't, then where did these wounds come from? And Yang lifted Granny Zhao's quilt and rolled up her clothes. Granny Zhao's arms and back were covered in bruises. I didn't do it. I didn't. Lin Fang vehemently denied. If not you, then who? And Yang's tone was mild, but it carried an intimidating force. Speaking of these wounds, Granny Zhao burst into tears. She hit me. Not only did she hit me, she also starved me. I, Wang Yuehua, have lived a life of wealth and worry-free. Little did I know that in my old age I would have to endure such torment. Shen Bao, you must seek justice for me. Lin Fang stared at Yang, her eyes wide with disbelief. It's you? You vile creature trying to ruin me. You were the one who stopped me from marrying into the Shangguan family, and now you're stirring up trouble. Shut up, you wretch. Losing patience, Zhao Shen gave Lin Fang a fierce slap in the face. The slap was so hard that Lin Fang's left cheek swelled immediately. I really didn't. Brother Shen, please believe me. Lin Fang clutched at Zhao Shen's trouser leg in a pathetic manner. Dad, believe Mom. Mom is not that kind of person. Chang Yu also knelt beside Zhao Shen. The mother and daughter pleaded with Zhao Shen. It was then that Granny Zhao seemed to remember something. Not only did they abuse me, they also abused Ziqing. These days I could always hear Ziqing crying from upstairs. It's my fault. I'm an incompetent grandmother and I couldn't protect my own granddaughter. Ziqing, my poor granddaughter. Upon hearing this, Zhao Shen was stunned. Lin Fang even hit children. Shangguan Furong walked over to Zhao Ziqing, squatting down to look her in the eye. Ziqing, did she hit you? No. I didn't hit her. Lin Fang denied with all her might, threatening Zhao Ziqing with her eyes. Little beast, if she dared to talk nonsense today, Lin Fang would kill her. Zhao Ziqing took a step back. She wanted to nod, but she was afraid. What if everyone left and Lin Fang beat her again? Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 727. Revealing the Truth. _4. She was terrified. Suppressing her inner rage, Shangguan Furong spoke in as gentle a voice as possible. Ziqing, please speak up. Did she beat you? You don't have to be scared. Mom is here and I will protect you. Please be honest with me. No, I didn't. Zhao Ziqing carefully glanced at Lin Fang with utmost fear in her eyes. Eventually she burst into tears, clinging tightly to Shangguan Furong's neck. I am scared. Ziqing's terrified confession broke Shangguan Furong's heart. It was her fault. She was the one who allowed her two children to suffer. I want to stay with Mom. I don't want to be with Dad anymore. Auntie Lin Fang is a bad lady. She pinched me and pricked me with this injection. My elder sister is also bad. She snatches my things and calls me a beast. As Zhao Ziqing spoke, she loosened her clothes to reveal the bruising on her body and countless needle holes on her arms and back. The sight was horrifying. Ziqing, my poor child. It's all my fault, I let you suffer. Shangguan Furong held Zhao Ziqing in a tight embrace. No wonder Lin Fang prevented her from seeing the kids before. If only she had located Zhao Shen sooner, things wouldn't have turned out this way. Shangguan Furong was consumed by regret and heartache. From the day her daughter was born, she never even had the heart to smack her once. let alone allowed her to be beaten to a pulp by Lin Fang. "Mum!" cried Zhao Ziqing. As a father, Zhao Xin could no longer bear it and he grabbed Lin Fang's hair in anger. "Lin Fang, what have you done? Ziqing is only 8 years old. She's still a child. How could you do this to her?" "No. She's lying about me. They're framing me together. They want to kick me out. Brother Shen, don't be fooled, don't." Lin Fang implored painfully as she clung onto Zhao Xin's trousers despite the pain in her scalp. Shengguan Furong charged forward to grab Lin Fang's sleeve, pushed her to the ground and then grabbed her by the throat. "Lin Fang, you inhuman beast. I will kill you. One life for another." "Miss, please calm down," and Ai Yang came over and held Shengguan Furong's hand. "It's not worth risking your freedom for her. You still have Zijuan and Ziqing to take care of." His words immediately sobered her up and she released Lin Fang. And Ai Yang was right. She was not worth it. Once Lin Fang was released, she began coughing violently. Shengguan Furong had certainly shown no mercy. Zhao Xin asked the servants to call the police. "Brother Xin, forgive me this time. I won't dare to do it again. They'll take good care of our mother, please pardon me." Lin Fang kneeled on the ground and bowed down in remorse. If she had known this day would come, she wouldn't have treated old Madame Zhao and Zhao Ziqing the way she did. Lin Fang felt regret. She was genuinely regretful. It took her a great struggle to marry into a wealthy family. She didn't want to go to jail or lose everything. "Get out." Zhao Xin kicked Lin Fang away angrily. Lin Fang crawled over once again. Brother Xin, give me one more chance. I know I was wrong, I really recognize my mistake. Dad, please forgive Mum this time." Chang Yu also kneeled beside Lin Fang. "I'm not your father." The police arrived shortly. Lin Fang and Chang Yu were arrested for abusing the elderly and a child. With guilt written all over his face, Zhao Xin looked at old Madame Zhao. "Mum, I'm sorry I let you and Ziqing suffer. I'm the one to blame, I brought the wolf into our house. It's my fault." Zhao Xin started slapping himself as he confessed his guilt. He felt regretful. He should not have betrayed Shengguan Furong in the first place. Although Shengguan Furong was a bit domineering, she was never oppressive towards the elderly or children. She had taken very good care of old Madame Zhao when she was bedridden. Who would have thought that Lin Fang would treat the elderly this way when she took over? Every time he thought of the torment that old Madame Zhao and Zhao Ziqing went through, Zhao Xin could not forgive himself. Old Madame Zhao tearfully looked at Zhao Xin. "Xinbao, it's not entirely your fault. I'm also to blame. I am suffering the consequences of my own actions. But I'm sorry for what has happened to Ziqing. The fact that Lin Fang was able to marry into the Zhao family so smoothly was also because of her." She was full of regret. During the period of being abused by Lin Fang, her thoughts often returned to Shengguan Furong. Shengguan Furong had been married into the Zhao family for 19 years. Although she was somewhat dominant, she never mistreated her. She even took care of her day and night whenever she fell ill. Source: web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 728, Revealing the Truth. _5. People only learn to cherish what they have once they lose it. Old Mrs. Zhao shed tears of regret. "Furong, can you forgive your mother?" Mrs. Zhao looked at Shengguan Furong. Shengguan Furong replied, "Mom, what's done is done. There's no point dwelling on it. But I can't let Zhao Xin take care of Ziqing anymore. If there was one Lin Fang, there could be a second Lin Fang. It's safer to raise her child herself. I want to go with Mom." Zhao Ziqing tightly held Shengguan Furong's hand. Old Mrs. Zhao sighed. At this point she had no reason to try to keep Ziqing. She had brought this upon herself. Zhao Xin then said, "I admit that I was wrong. Since Ziqing wants to go with you, just take her." He could understand Shengguan Furong's feelings. Zhao Xin then added, "Can you bring the children back to visit their grandmother from time to time?" "Of course." Shengguan Furong nodded. When leaving, Ai Yang gave Zhao Xin a prescription. "Take this for a month and old Mrs. Zhao will recover." "Really?" Zhao Xin asked in surprise. "Yes." Ai Yang nodded. Yang, I can't thank you enough." Zhao Xin bowed deeply to Ai Yang. When Shengguan Furong and the children returned to the Shengguan residence, Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing had already fallen asleep after crying their hearts out. Even in sleep, Zhao Ziqing's brows were still tightly knitted. Downstairs. After hearing what had happened, old Mrs. Shengguan couldn't help but shed tears of sympathy. Poor children, poor children. I knew long ago that Lin Fang was no good. But Mrs. Shangguan never imagined that Lin Fang could hurt a child. "Where is Lin Fang now? What is your uncle's stance?" Shangguan, she asked. Shangguan Farong said, "Your uncle was kept in the dark about all of this. Not only did Lin Fang abuse Ziqing, but she also mistreated Ziqing's grandmother. The police have already taken them away. People like her. I wish we could tear her limb from limb." Shangguan, she said, filled with hatred. And Ai Yang handed some potion to Shangguan Farong. "Auntie, this potion has the effect of promoting blood circulation, reducing swelling and removing scars. Add it to Ziqing's bathwater at night and let her soak for 15 minutes. Do this for a week and you'll see results." "All right." Shangguan Farong took the potion. "Thank you for everything today, Yang Yang. If it weren't for Ai Yang today, who knows how much more suffering Zhao Ziqing would have to endure." As a mother, every time she thought of this she felt scared. "We're family, no need to thank me," Ai Yang said softly. Shangguan Dehui, with a serious look on his face, stood to the side. "Farong, don't take offense to what I'm about to say. This is all your own doing. If it weren't for Shangguan Furong's domineering and strong-willed nature, the children wouldn't have suffered like this." Shangguan Farong didn't respond because it was indeed her fault, so she wouldn't refute it. Shangguan Dehui continued, "Now that you've brought Ziqing back, what does the Zhao family say? After all, when they divorced, Zhao Ziqing went with Zhao Shen." Shangguan Farong replied, "He didn't voice any objections. He just asked me to bring Ziqing and Zijuan back to visit often." Hearing this, old Mrs. Shangguan asked, "Farong, do you really see no possibility of reconciliation with Zhao Shen?" Shangguan Farong shook her head. "Given how things have developed, how could there be any possibilities between her and Zhao Shen? What about the children?" Old Mrs. Shangguan continued, "With a stepmother, there's bound to be a stepfather. And with a stepfather, there's bound to be a stepmother. Can you guarantee the children will be treated kindly in your future marriage?" Shangguan Farong paused momentarily, then said, "Mom, I haven't given any thought to remarrying. But you will eventually have to consider it." Old Mrs. Shangguan continued, "Everyone makes mistakes. Furthermore, you both made mistakes here. Give Zhao Shen another chance for the sake of Zijuan and Ziqing." The old lady couldn't bear to see the children suffer again. It's really hard for divorced women to find a good man. If Shangguan Farong were to meet someone unworthy, wouldn't the children have to suffer again? While Zhao Shen made mistakes, he had been good to Shangguan Farong. It was Shangguan Farong who didn't appreciate him. And after all, Zhao Shen was their children's biological father. "But I can't get over it," Shangguan Farong continued. "Who says a divorced woman must remarry? I can take care of my 2 children by myself and we can live a good life." Source: Web Novel. Com, updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 729. Revealing the Truth. _6. For her children she could choose not to marry. She was ready to make that sacrifice. Lady Shangguan sighed, "You can give up on having a husband, but growing children cannot lack a father. You don't consider your own needs, but you should think for the sake of your 2 children at least." Shangguan Farong fell silent. Lady Shangguan continued, "Zijuan is 10 years old and Ziqing is only 8 this year. Farong, you ought to think, can you bear it?" Shangguan Farong sighed deeply, "Mother, stop it. There is no chance for Zhao Shen and me anymore." She could forgive every mistake. Except for infidelity. She knew she had been quite excessive in the past, but no matter how bad she had been, she never cheated on Zhao Shen. She has met men better Zhao Shen before. Moreover, because of Zhao Shen's affair, Ziqing suffers so much. Noticing the increasingly tense atmosphere, Ai Tsuehua tactfully intervened, "I washed some grapes and strawberries, Mom. Farong, you both should eat more." The grave conversation was skillfully switched. 3 days later, the police reported that Lin Fang was sentenced to 3 years for abusing the elderly and a child. Chang Yu, as an accomplice, received a 1-year sentence. Upon hearing this news, Shangguan Farong sighed in relief. After a 3-year jail sentence and having a criminal record, Lin Fang would be less trouble when she gets out. The potion that Ai Yen gave worked wonders. Within 3 days, Zhao Ziqing had recovered a lot, her complexion improved, but she occasionally cried in her sleep, begging Lin Fang not to hit her. The weather was good today as the snow under the sunshine started to slowly melt. In the air, one could smell the crisp scent of melting snow. Ai Yen went to the Zhao family to give Mrs. Zhao a checkup. Mrs. Zhao, with her upper body now capable of moving, was effusively thankful to Ai Yen. Ai Yen gave her hope. However, the person she should be thanking even more is Shangguan Furong. Without Shangguan Furong's persuasion, Zhao Shen would have not thought to seek in Ai Yan's help. Yang, could I ask you for a favor? Mrs. Zhao hesitated before asking. Speak your mind. And Ai Yan's radiant face remained the same, as the sunlight shone through the window, casting a soft halo onto her. Until then, Mrs. Zhao had never seen such a beautiful young girl. Mrs. Zhao went on, I know the Zhao family did many unjust things in the past. I can apologize and I regret. Can you go back and ask Furong if she can give Zhao Shen another chance? And Ai Yan, with an apologetic expression, said, I'm sorry, Mrs. Zhao, it may be inappropriate for me as the younger generation to intervene in elders' affairs. The right and wrong of the situation were clear, Shangguan Furong and Zhao Shen each responsible for half. But in Ai Yan's eyes, infidelity is something unforgivable. No reason could justify adultery. So she will not intervene in this matter, the decision would be up to Shangguan Furong. Hearing this, Mrs. Zhao sighed, I considered inadequately. Since Ai Yan refused to get involved, she could not force her. As Ai Yan was walking out of the Zhao family gate with her medical kit, she bumped into Shangguan Furong and the two children returning. Sister Ai Yan, is my grandmother getting better? Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing walked up to ask. Ai Yan smiled and replied, You too, rest assured Mrs. Zhao's recovery is going very well. Thank you, Sister Ai Yan. Ai Yan bid farewell to Shangguan Furong before leaving the Zhao family. Zhao Shen, by whatever means, managed to hire back those workers who were previously dismissed by Lin Feng, including the old butler. Upon seeing Shangguan Furong, everyone was quite excited. Ma'am, you're back. Shangguan Furong smiled and said, You all are back as well, but from now on, I will not be your mistress anymore. Upon hearing this, everyone felt somewhat sentimental. How did everything change so suddenly? In the eyes of the servants, Shangguan Furong was a very good mistress. She was generous and never intentionally made things difficult for them. Shangguan Furong didn't say much to everyone, instead she went upstairs with the two children. Seeing Shangguan Furong and the two children made Mrs. Zhao very happy. Furong, thank you for bringing the children back to see me. Shangguan Furong said, No matter what, you are Zijuan and Ziking's grandmother. This time Shangguan Furong didn't call her mom anymore, and Mrs. Zhao felt somewhat disappointed. Is there really no chance for Shangguan Furong and Zhao Shen? Ai Yan, with her medical kit on her back, walked down the street where the ice and snow were melting. The street was bustling and especially lively. From afar, she saw an old man with gray hair limping onto a step to sit down, seemingly injured. Ai Yan quickly walked over. Sir, are you okay? Do you need my help? The old man looked up and froze. His eyes welled up with warmth. This face, it gave him an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Ai Yan continued, Sir, did you hurt your foot? I am a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine. I might be able to help you. The man looked very serious, probably in his 60s or 70s. For some reason, his gaze towards her carried an unknown sentimentality. Sir, replied Ai Yan as the old man remained silent after some time. The old man finally reacted, Young lady, what's your name? Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 730, Go to Ni family _1 like. Very much alike. Even though he can't pinpoint who exactly this child resembles, the old man immediately thought of his daughter who has been missing for many years. Indeed, this old man is Zheng Jun, the patriarch of the Zheng family. Lately, the old man has been feeling his health deteriorating by the day, hence he no longer stays in his room all day as he did before. He hoped to find his only daughter, to lay eyes on her one more time before his departure. Whether she's alive or dead, he wished to receive some news. If the unfortunate really happened, he wanted to offer incense at his daughter's grave. My name is Ai Yang. Ai as in a single person, and Yang as in producing smoke from warming jade in the sun. For reasons unknown, Ai Yang felt an inexplicable closeness upon seeing Old Master Zheng. Old Master Zheng was not a man of many words and would hardly speak a word to Zheng Xianjing in half a month. However, today he couldn't help but introduce himself to Ai Yang. My surname is Zheng. I'm called Jing Jun. Zheng as in cover the ears, Jun as in a critical moment. Grandpa Zheng, just call me Yang Yang. Ai Yang continued, By the way, did you injure your foot? Speaking of which, Old Master Zheng responded with a painful smile, I was just chasing a thief. Who knew that I wouldn't catch the thief but instead sprain my own leg? Is it this foot? And I Yang crouched down halfway. Old Master Zheng nodded. Let me take a look. Today the snow had melted, leaving a lot of muddy water on Old Master Zheng's shoes, but I Yang didn't mind the dirt, directly taking off his shoes. It seems slightly displaced, let me reset it for you. It might hurt a little, try to bear with it. Okay, Old Master Zheng nodded, thanks Yang. While talking to Old Master Zheng, and Yang was also diverting his attention. Crack. The intense pain makes Old Master Zheng turn pale. And Yang stood up from the ground. Grandpa Zheng, try standing up. Old Master Zheng got up from the steps, tried to walk a few steps and said in surprise, it doesn't hurt anymore. Not at all. Yang, you are really amazing. Unconsciously, Old Master Zheng didn't realize that he's been speaking more, and his typically serious face had also broken into many smiles. And Yang smiled, it's just a little trick. Yang, did you inherit this traditional Chinese medicine practice from your ancestors? Old Master Zheng asked. And Yang shook her head, I have a master. Old Master Zheng said, then your master must be a hermit. How old are you, Yang? 19. She was 17 when she first came to Beijing, and time flew by so quickly that it's already been 2 years. Old Master Zheng nodded. Yang, judging from your accent, you don't seem to be from Beijing. Yes, I'm from Haiqing. I came to Beijing 2 years ago. And Yang said, Haiqing. Haiqing is still over 2,000 kilometers away from the place where Jing Tingting went missing years ago. Old Master Zheng's eyes dimmed a bit. And Yang continued, Grandpa Zheng, I notice you have swollen eyes and faint dark circles. Are you having trouble sleeping recently? I'm old, not as good as before. Old Master Zheng sighed. And Yang took out a light blue sachet from her bag. This is for you. What is this? Old Master Zheng was puzzled. And Yang continued, this is a sachet made of medicinal herbs which can improve sleep. You can try using it. Old Master Zheng reached out and took it. There was indeed a faint medicinal smell lingering on the sachet. How much does it cost? Old Master Zheng continued, and also for earlier when you helped reset my bone. Money is the best way to express gratitude in this world. And other than money, Old Master Zheng couldn't find any other way. And Yang smiled, helping you with the bone reset was just a small effort, and this sachet is not worth much. You could look at as me promoting the virtues of traditional Chinese medicine. The upbringing of this child was too good. Also, the feeling she gave was not like that of a 19-year-old girl at all, there was a sense of time weathering all things about her. Old Master Zheng, who had seen numerous people in his life, this was the first time he had seen such a gifted young girl. Traditional Chinese medicine has been inherited for thousands of years. It's a pity that Western medicine has been in the limelight in the recent years and traditional Chinese medicine is gradually falling behind. Yang, you're so young yet your medical skills are so good, that's too rare. Old Master Zheng received an old-style education in his youth, so he always held traditional Chinese medicine in high regard. Unfortunately, in this rising age, people have gradually forgotten about traditional Chinese medicine. By the way, Yang, my wife has been unwell recently, suffering from a persistent cough. Would you be willing to make a house visit if I wanted to engage your services? Old Master Zheng asked. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 731. Go to NI family _2. Yang nodded, it's my honor. Old Master Zheng's eyes lit up, then give me an address. When I go back and tell my wife, he'll come and visit you. Yang continued, if it's from Monday to Friday, you can find me at number 56 Jinghua Village. If it's the weekend, I'm usually at Phoenix Villa number 23. Phoenix Villa is where the Shengguan family lives and Yang stays there 2 days a week. Old Master Zheng, being a scholar, had a habit of carrying paper and pen with him. He immediately jotted down the addresses. After saying goodbye to Old Master Zheng, Yang visited several noodle restaurants and milk tea shops. Now there are 12 branch stores of noodle restaurants and milk tea shops in Beijing, making a total of 22 branches. And all the properties were bought outright. Now Wang Jinfang and Zhou Qingshang are the general manager and deputy general manager of the branches respectively. Their monthly salary has increased from the initial 35 yuan to 128 yuan. Each store also has its own store manager. The store managers are villagers from Jinghua Village, regular employees are recruited from outside. The store manager's salary is 98 yuan a month. The salary for regular employees has also increased to 45 yuan per month. And Yang trusts everyone. With high salaries, everyone is very dedicated to their work, never leaving any headache for Yang. Despite the increase in employee wages, the prices of milk tea and noodles have not risen. So whether it's a workday or a holiday, the noodle restaurants and milk tea shops are always crowded. Seeing Yang making money, others were very envious, and for a while, countless imitators sprang up. Some even opened shops right across from Yang's. But Yang has never been surpassed. Zheng family. As soon as old Master Zheng returned home, he saw that there were visitors. The visitors were none other than old Master Zheng's second and third brothers. However, old Master Zheng walked upstairs as if he hadn't seen the two. Old Mrs. Zheng was hosting the guests in the living room. Zheng Lingling served hot tea to them. Uncle 2, Uncle 3, please have some tea. Old Master Zheng's second brother is named Zheng Sheng and his third brother is named Zheng Gao. Although they all have the surname Zheng, their background is not half as good as old Master Zheng's. The Zheng family is an esteemed, wealthy family, while Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao's families can at best be called rich. So Zheng Lingling didn't like these two old men at all. If it weren't for the sake of old Master Zheng and Mrs. Zheng, she wouldn't even care to deal with them. Second brother and third brother, is there something you came here for today? Mrs. Zheng broke the silence. Zheng Gao did not speak. He picked up the teacup, took a sip and looked towards Zheng Sheng. Zheng Sheng gave a smile. Sister-in-law, how have you and my brother been lately? We are doing fine, old Mrs. Zheng replied. How about Suyu? Zheng Sheng continued. Suyu is doing well too. Mrs. Zheng also took a sip of tea. If you really care about Suyu, why not take her home for a few days? She has been missing you. At these words, Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao both jumped in surprise. I think Suyu is better off staying here, sister-in-law. You're so thoughtful, you will surely take good care of her. Yes, yes, yes. Zheng Gao immediately echoed. Although Suyu is their sister, she is now a complete lunatic. Not only is she useless, she is a burden. Given their modest family conditions, they dare not take on such a burden. Old Mrs. Zheng couldn't help but see through her two brothers. She continued, if you two have something to say, just say it directly. Since sister-in-law has said so, I won't beat around the bush, Zheng Xing carried on. Sister-in-law Minghui quit his job a few days ago and he hasn't found a suitable job till now, you see. Before Zheng Sheng could finish, Zheng Gao couldn't wait to say, and our Mingming also quit his job. Sister-in-law, we are all family, you can't play favorites. Stop it. Zheng Sheng shouted unhappily, do you know there is a hierarchy among elders and youngsters? I haven't finished yet. After saying that, Zheng Xing turned to Mrs. Zheng with a smile. Sister-in-law, both of these kids are your dear nephews, you won't ignore them, right? Zheng Lingling stood on the side, almost unable to maintain the smile on her face. These two old guys are really shameless. Do they really think the Zheng family is out of members? She, the eldest daughter, is still here. They are thinking about dividing the Zheng assets. Old Mrs. Zheng maintained her smile. Since they have resigned, they should be looking for new jobs. How could telling me solve their problems? Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 732. Go to NI family _3. Solution is there. Zheng Xing said, why can't it be solved? The Zheng Corporation is such a large group, there must be so many vacant positions. Sister-in-law, you might as well give Minghui a chance to serve as general manager. Zheng Gao said, what about our Mingming? He's a 3-time graduate. If Minghui can be made general manager, our Mingming should at least be a deputy general manager, right? Upon hearing this, Zheng Lingling's face was filled with a mocking expression. General manager? Vice general manager? These two old fools really dared to speak. Zheng Minghui and Zheng Mingming are just two idlers, even more wieldless than Mo Qishan. Elderly Mrs. Zheng looked at Zheng Gao and Zheng Xing, twisted the Buddha beads in her hands, her voice neither loud nor soft. The positions of general manager and deputy general manager are too small. Why not let them be the chairman? Hearing this, Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao were overwhelmed with disbelief. Could they have misheard? Zheng Sheng smiled and said, Sister-in-law, this is too embarrassing. If you intend to vacate the position of chairman, then we can't help but thank you. You can rest assured if you hand the Zheng Corporation over to our Minghui. As soon as these words were spoken, Zheng Gao immediately became displeased. Why should the position of chairman be Minghui's? What about our Mingming? The Zheng Corporation is not yours. I want to agree to let Minghui be the chairman. On what grounds are you refusing? Our Minghui is the eldest son and grandson of old Zheng's family. He should be the chairman without a doubt. Eldest son and grandson? You must really think we're still in a feudal society? There's no such thing as a hereditary system now. I say the position of chairman should be our Mingming's. Can your Minghui match our Mingming? The two older brothers quarreled incessantly. Enough. Madame Zheng banged the Buddha beads on the table violently. Shut up, all of you. The air turned quiet instantly. It was as if someone had pressed pause. You're all behaving atrociously. Mrs. Zheng's face was cold. Don't you weigh your own worth, and yet you fancy the position of chairman? Hearing this, Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao's faces alternated between green and white. Zheng Sheng felt wronged and said, Sister-in-law, you're being unfair. It was you who said you were going to vacate the position of chairman. Zheng Gao echoed on the side. Exactly, as the saying goes, eldest brother is like a father and his wife is like a mother. Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao were somewhat wary of their elder sister-in-law. Old Madame Zheng continued, there are 2 team leader positions open in the security department. Let Minghui and Mingming go apply. Security team leader? It sounds like a prestigious title. Thank you, sister-in-law. Zheng Gao thanked her with a smile. We are all family, I knew that you would never let us down. Zheng Sheng pondered, security department? Isn't the security department, security? Job title, security is a new concept at this time, and many are still uncertain about it. It's security. Mrs. Zheng nodded. Upon hearing this, Zheng Sheng was not pleased. Security guard? Isn't that just a gatekeeper? How can we let Minghui become a gatekeeper? Although it's a family business, sister-in-law, you should at least give Minghui a position. Zheng Gao was also unhappy. Sister-in-law, Mingming is after all your biological nephew. How can you stand to let him guard the door? What? Do you two also look down upon the position of security team leader? Mrs. Zheng laughed and asked. Sister-in-law, we're all family here. There's no need for this, is there? Exactly. Zheng Corporation has so many cushy jobs. You'd rather give them to outsiders than keep them for your own nephews. Sister-in-law, that's questionable. Madame Zheng picked up her teacup. Precisely because Minghui and Mingming are my nephews, I want to give them the chance to serve as team leaders. If Mingming were an outsider, he wouldn't even qualify to step into the Zheng Corporation. The last sentence was not spoken loudly, but it turned Zheng Sheng and Zheng Jun pale. Sister-in-law, Madame Zheng continued, do you two have other things to say? If not, I want to rest. Yes, we do. Zheng Gao nodded hastily. Say it. Mrs. Zheng was succinct. Zheng Gao looked troubled as he glanced at Zheng Lingling and the other servants. Madame Zheng, a very intelligent woman, instantly understood his meaning. She looked at Zheng Lingling. Lingling, lead them out for now. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co, if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 733, Go to NI Family _4. Alright, Mom. Zheng Lingling nodded. In an instant all the servants in the room had left. Go ahead, what's on your mind? The old lady of the Zheng family continued. Zheng Gao nudged Zheng Sheng with his elbow. Zheng Sheng hesitated for a moment before speaking. Sis-in-law, I've heard that your and my brother's health have been poor recently. The old lady of the Zheng family spun her Buddha beads in silence. Zheng Sheng continued, Sis-in-law, as the saying goes, we can't deny aging. As one gets older, all bodily functions begin to weaken, stop working, and none could predict which comes first, tomorrow or an accident. Therefore it's necessary to prepare in advance. At this point, Zheng Gao immediately lowered his voice and added, Don't blame me for being blunt as a younger brother, sis-in-law. Lingling is not your biological daughter after all. It's a common saying that one doesn't let one's riches benefit others. If there were to be any accidents, we can't simply let outsiders benefit, right? You still have Mingming and Minghui who are capable of holding up the family. Zheng Lingling was just an outsider. She didn't have the right to inherit the property of the Zheng family. The old lady of the Zheng family's biological daughter had died long ago, so the heirs to the family property should be Zheng Mingming and Zheng Minghui. The old lady of the Zheng family sneered, beating around the bush, you seem to be hoping for my early death. Not at all, sis-in-law. You misunderstood. We didn't mean that. Zheng Sheng hurriedly explained. Zheng Gao continued, Sis-in-law, we just want to remind you, don't let outsiders benefit, outsiders are still outsiders and they will never fully belong. Exactly. The second brother is right. Zheng Xing said. Chao Lingrui's surname is Chao. Even if it's changed now, she still has Chao as her surname. She has Chao family's blood in her veins. Chao Lingrui was Zheng Lingling's former name. Rest assured, even if I really have an accident and die, the Zheng family will not be taken advantage of. The old lady of the Zheng family spoke frankly. Zheng Xing and Zheng Gao appeared uncomfortable. Who talks like that? Shed really killed the conversation. You may leave. The old lady of the Zheng family stood from the sofa. I'm tired. As she finished speaking, she left Zheng Xing and Zheng Gao behind. Zheng Xing and Zheng Gao exchanged glances, both seeing disappointment in each other's eyes. The old lady of the Zheng family went to the study room upstairs, letting out a tired sigh. Aching. The old master, carrying a watering can, walked over from the balcony. Did you go out today? The old lady of the Zheng family asked. Yes. The old master nodded. Aching, I have something to discuss with you. At that moment, Zheng Lingling knocked on the door of the study room. Mom, Auntie Jiang is here. The old master glanced at the doctor and then said, Then I'll talk to you later. As he finished speaking, he headed towards the balcony. The balcony was filled with his favorite plants. Though it's winter, the red plum blossoms were exceptionally brilliant. The old lady of the Zheng family got up to welcome Dr. Jiang. Xiaoyan is here. Aching. Dr. Jiang put down her medical case and looked down the stairs in a low voice. I just saw Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao downstairs. They seemed a bit upset. The old lady of the Zheng family casually said, Don't mind them. Dr. Jiang continued, Those two are amusing. They were eager to ask about your and Zheng Jun's health conditions when they saw me coming in. When I told them you were fine, they seemed quite disappointed. Zheng Lingling seized this opportunity to sow discord. Mom, if you ask me, we shouldn't let those two men casually enter our house anymore. They are just eyeing our property. The old lady of the Zheng family looked at Zheng Lingling. You, as a junior, has no place to interrupt. Even if Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao were overstepping, they were the elders. Zheng Lingling shut her mouth abruptly. Dr. Jiang laughed and said, Don't blame Lingling for being blunt. Those two men really have gone too far. Even I, as an outsider, find it hard to watch. The old lady of the Zheng family responded, Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao are indeed a bit greedy, but it's not unforgivable. Dr. Jiang nodded and didn't continue the topic. Anyway, Aching, how have you been feeling recently? Any discomfort? Same as before, the old lady of the Zheng family replied. Oh. After the examination, Dr. Jiang repeated her usual advice. Aching, there are no major problems with your health. Just make sure to take your medication on time and take care of yourself. Okay. The old lady of the Zheng family nodded. Zheng Jun hasn't been feeling too well lately. Lingling, go get your dad and let Auntie Jiang have a look at him. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co, if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 734. Go to NI family _5. Alright. Zheng Lingling walked towards the door. After a while, Zheng Lingling came back alone. Madame Zheng asked in surprise, Lingling, where's your father? Zheng Lingling said, My father said he's fine, he doesn't need to see the doctor. Madame Zheng shook her head helplessly. After all these years, he's still stubborn like a child. How can he not see a doctor when he's not feeling well? I'll go call him myself. Madame Zheng then walked out the door. Only Dr. Jiang and Zheng Lingling were left in the study room. Dr. Jiang said, Lingling, I heard about your father being unwell before, isn't he better now? No. Zheng Lingling shook her head. Dr. Jiang took a sip of tea. Did you give your father the medicine I gave you last time? Zheng Lingling laughed and said, My father is odd, he's reluctant to take medicine, so I put the medicine in the ginseng soup. I'm not sure if the ginseng will affect the medicine's efficacy. Over the years, the old Mr. Zheng hasn't had any serious illnesses, nor has he seen a doctor. Even when it comes to Dr. Jiang, who is good friends with Madame Zheng, he is reluctant to let her examine him. He's quite particular. Dr. Jiang laughed and said, You're such a filial child. Don't worry, ginseng is good, it won't affect the efficacy of the medicine. Alright, then I'll still use ginseng in the future. Dr. Jiang nodded. Zheng Lingling glanced out the window then continued, Last time my mother couldn't find Tingting, I don't know if there's any news now, it's so worrying. Speaking of this, Zheng Lingling sighed and said, I just don't know how my poor little sister Tingting is doing now. These things can't be rushed. Dr. Jiang said, What is destined to be will eventually be, and what isn't can't be forced. Your mother has waited for over 30 years, what's another day? Zheng Lingling sighed again. I'm afraid my father and mother won't be able to hold up after all Dr. Jiang patted Zheng Lingling's hand. Don't worry. After a while Madame Zheng came back, somewhat helplessly said, he's as stubborn as a mule, I can't do anything about him. Dr. Jiang laughed and said, this is how Jing Jun was when he was young and used to it. I just came in and saw he looked pretty well, there should be no major health problems, you don't need to worry. As a doctor, these words from Dr. Jiang reassured Madame Zheng. Taking into account that the two old sisters had a lot to talk about, Zheng Lingling tactfully left the study and closed the door. Dr. Jiang and Madame Zheng chatted a bit about irrelevant things, then Dr. Jiang asked, Qing, are you still looking for Tingting? Madame Zheng shook her head. Since Dr. Wang gave me the appraisal result last time, I've had no hope for this matter. I won't look for her anymore, never again. Although Dr. Jiang is the person Madame Zheng trusts the most, she can't tell Dr. Jiang the truth about this matter. It's a secret between her and old Mr. Zheng. Moreover, if one more person knew about this matter, the risk would increase. Tingting is your flesh and blood, how can you not look for her? Dr. Jiang said, I feel that Dr. Wang is a bit careless. Actually, Dr. Xiaoran is not bad, you can look for Dr. Xiaoran. Madame Zheng shook her head again. I think Dr. Xiaoran is young, although I have some friendship with her mother, I don't trust her. Dr. Jiang nodded, you're right. Xiaoran is indeed too young, so, you won't look for her anymore? Dr. Jiang continued, although Lingling is more filial than a biological daughter, she is not a blood relative of the Zheng family after all. In my opinion, Jing Xing and Jing Gao had a point, one cannot live forever. You can't let the vast Zheng family fortune go to outsiders after you pass away. Madame Zheng looked at Dr. Jiang. Xiaoyan, are you also taking their side now? Are you a spokesman that they've hired? Dr. Jiang laughed. Qing, how could you think that way? Madame Zheng continued, since that's not the case, don't bring them up again. Jing Jun and I are old now, we just want to live our last years in peace, we don't want to fuss about it anymore. Saying this, Madame Zheng continued, besides, Lingling is a good child. She's been filial to us for so many years in the Zheng family, and has also given us a smart and clever granddaughter, we're already content. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 735. Go to NI family _6. Dr. Jiang nodded. True, contentment breeds happiness. After some more chatting with old lady Zheng, Dr. Jiang left the Zheng family. Zheng Lingling saw Dr. Jiang to the door. Please watch your step. Dr. Jiang nodded. I will. Also, according to your mother, she seems to have given up finding Tingting. If you have a chance, try to persuade her. Blood is thicker than water after all, she should still try to look for her. Upon hearing this, Zheng Lingling's face was filled with disbelief. Not looking for her? That old witch really gave up? She just gave up on her own daughter? Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes. All right, I will try to persuade my mother. Thank you for today. You're welcome. The study room upstairs in the Zheng's home. When Dr. Jiang had just left, Master Zheng came in. Qing, I met a girl today with excellent medical skills. Your health keeps deteriorating, let's have her take a look. Old lady Zheng laughed. Look who's talking. I wonder who the one refusing medical treatment is. Master Zheng had nothing to say. Old lady Zheng added, Xiaoyan says my health is fine, there's no need to call another doctor, right? I think she's a quack. She always says you're fine but your constant coughing proves otherwise. Master Zheng furrowed his brow. Old lady Zheng laughed, it's just a bit of coughing. No need to overreact. As soon as she finished, old lady Zheng started coughing violently. Are you all right? Master Zheng quickly patted old lady Zheng's back. Don't worry, it's not going to kill me, old lady Zheng reassured, waving her hand. Master Zheng's face fell. Don't talk about dying. Old lady looked at him in surprise. Master Zheng continued, until we find Tingting, we all have to stay well. Nobody can talk about death. He wants to meet his daughter alive. Old lady Zheng laughed. All right, we won't talk about it. Master Zheng insisted. Qing, seriously, you should let that girl examine you. Old lady Zheng replied. Xiaoyan has been taking care of my illness all along. If suddenly another doctor comes in, how will Xiaoyan feel? Not to mention her long-standing friendship with Dr. Jiang. Master Zheng considered, then continued, how about this? Well, go to that girl's house directly so she can check on me too. Well, keep it a secret, not telling anyone. That could work, old lady Jing nodded. As long as it doesn't embarrass Dr. Jiang. Let's go tomorrow then, Master Jing added. Alright, well, go with your plan. The two old people chatted some more, and just then there was a knock on the door. Zheng Xianjing walked in with 2 bowls of ginseng soup. Grandpa, Grandma, it's time for your soup. Okay, old lady Jing nodded cheerfully. Master Jing took a bowl, drank it all, and walked out without a word. He wasn't particularly close to Zheng Xianjing, but he wasn't indifferent to her either. He simply had nothing to say. Unlike other families, grandparents and grandchildren always have lots of things to talk about. Master Zheng could go a whole year without exchanging a word with Zheng Xianjing and Zheng Lingling. Zheng Xianjing watched Master Zheng's retreating figure with a flash of resentment in her eyes. She's always been kind to Master Zheng, but he never treated her like his own granddaughter. He only cared about his own daughter. It was surprising how dutiful and respectful Zheng Lingling was, making ginseng soup for them every day. What a waste of filial piety. Xianjing, when did you get back? Old lady Zheng asked. School had started by now, and Zheng Xianjing was normally in the dorm. Zheng Xianjing smiled. I just got back, Grandma. The school canteen is terrible, making you lose weight. Let Chef Lu make you something delicious tonight to replenish yourself, suggested old lady Zheng. But old lady Zheng didn't truly care about her. If she really cared, she wouldn't have Chef Lu make the food. She would do it herself. As a grandmother, old lady Zheng never even made her a bowl of porridge, let alone anything else. Was it just because her mother wasn't her biological daughter? How ironic. Zheng Xianjing cursed old lady Zheng hundreds of times in her mind, but her face remained smiling. Grandma, I'm not skinny at all. Besides, these days people in Western countries don't favor being overweight. It's better to be slim. Zhao family. Old lady Zhao chatted at length with Shangguan Farong. At that moment, a servant came to knock at the door. Old lady, the people from the nursing home are here. So soon. Old lady Zhao was a little surprised, then she looked at Shangguan Farong and said, Farong, the people from the nursing home are here. Can you please help me check? I've already paid them. What are the people from the nursing home here for? Shangguan Farong was curious. They're here to pick up old lady Chang, old lady Zhao replied. Hearing this, Shangguan Farong was even more puzzled. Old lady Zhao sighed. Speaking of old lady Chang, she is Lin Fang's former mother-in-law, also a pitiable woman. Her only son died in a car accident, leaving her paralyzed and alone. She previously suffered a lot under Lin Fang's hands. Now that she's lost all her ability to work, I found a nursing home for her to live in. When Lin Fang married into the family, she brought old lady Chang with her. Old lady Chang was now taken care of by Zhao family's servants. Now that Lin Fang was in prison and old lady Chang was bedridden, they couldn't just abandon her. That would be an atrocious act. Shangguan Farong remembered that indeed Lin Fang had a bedridden mother-in-law. She nodded. Okay, I'll go check. Wait, Farong, old lady Zhao seemed to remember something. What's up? Shangguan Farong turned back. Old lady Zhao continued, can you ask the people from the nursing home to come back later? In a few days, Yang Yang will come to follow up with my condition. We can ask her to examine old lady Chang as well. Now that old lady Chang can't talk or move, it's really pitiful. Old lady has also experienced similar desperation. All right, Shangguan Farong nodded. The next day was Monday. At around 10 in the morning, Master Zheng and old lady Zheng arrived at Jinghua village by car. The cement road in Jinghua village was still under construction, so the car could only stop at the entrance of the village. As soon as they got off the car, old lady Zheng exclaimed, the air here is so fresh. Master Zheng took a coat and draped it over old lady Zheng's shoulders. The temperature difference between outdoors and indoors is quite large, don't catch a cold. Old lady Zheng snuggled into her coat. The Ni family's small courtyard was not hard to find. It wasn't long before the two old people found the main gate. Excuse me, is anyone home? Chirp chirp. A myna bird flew out from the yard, circling in the air. Just then the door opened. Opening the door was Ni Yang. Seeing the visitors, she was surprised and said, Grandma Zheng. Grandpa Zheng? It turns out that these two old people are from the same family. Old lady Zheng was equally surprised. Yang Yang. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 736. Spoiled grandson maniac underscore one. Old Master Zheng looked at the two of them astonished. Aching, so you and Yang Yang you know each other. Fate really is a marvelous thing. Old Madame Zheng said, Yang Yang is the divine doctor who cured Xiao Dai. So that's how it is. Old Master Zheng nodded. Grandpa Zheng, Grandma Zheng, please come in. And Yang stepped aside to let the elderly couple in. The courtyard was beautifully designed. Even in winter, it remained vibrant and full of life. Old Master Zheng and Old Madame Zheng looked around with surprise. A little chubby child ran towards them shouting, Sister, sister. And Yang stretched out her hand and picked up the chubby child. Yun, say hello to Grandpa and Grandma. Little Yun obediently greeted, Grandpa, Grandma. Old Madame Zheng laughed and said, Little Yun has grown so much. The last time I saw her, she was not even able to speak. Before you know it, she is already running around. Old Master Zheng looked at little Yun, somewhat dazed. His eyes were suddenly filled with a tinge of red. He didn't know if it was because he was missing his granddaughter, but he felt that little Yun and Zheng Tingting looked identical when they were young. Can I hold her? Old Master Zheng asked Yang. Sure. Yang nodded. Little Yun was always cautious and usually didn't let strangers hold her. However, today she was exceptionally happy when Old Master Zheng picked her up. Old Madame Zheng looked at Old Master Zheng with surprise. She knew that Old Master Zheng didn't usually like children. When Zheng Xianjing was little, he never once held her in his arms. Grandpa. Little Yun reached out to tug at Old Master Zheng's beard. Grandpa, what is this? This is a beard. Grandpa, what is that? That is a flower. Grandpa is silly, that is a fafa. Old Madame Zheng almost thought she was hallucinating. Old Master Zheng was too out of character today, as if he was a completely different person. Yang, who is here? Anai Tsuehua and Shangguan Dehui came out of the house. Grandpa Zheng, Grandma Zheng, these are my parents. Yang introduced them. Shangguan Dehui recognized Old Master and Old Madame Zheng, Uncle Zheng, Auntie Zheng. Dehui. The old couple looked at Shangguan Dehui in surprise. They had heard that Shangguan Dehui remarried, but they didn't expect him to have married Yang's mother. You two please come in and have a seat, Tsuehua said. All right, Old Master Zheng and Old Madame Zheng nodded. After entering the house, Tsuehua and Shangguan Dehui busied themselves with serving tea and refreshments to the elderly couple. Tsuehua said, It's getting late, Dehui, you should go to work now. I can handle things here at home. It was Monday and Shangguan Dehui had classes in the morning. All right, Shangguan Dehui nodded. He'll say hello to Uncle Zheng and Auntie Zheng before I leave. After greeting Old Master and Old Madame Zheng, Shangguan Dehui left. Old Master Zheng held little Yun the entire time. Yang, your Grandma Zheng and I have been feeling unwell lately. Especially your Grandma Zheng, she's had a cough for many years and it hasn't gotten any better. Can you examine her first? Yang gave a slight nod and proceeded to feel Old Madame Zheng's pulse. She knitted her eyebrows, her eyes focused, and the crystal lamp reflected a cool light in her eyes, making her look quite striking. After a while, she released Old Madame Zheng's hand and asked, Could I ask what medicine you've been taking lately? Old Madame Zheng thought for a moment, then answered, I can't remember the exact names, but generally they are cough suppressants. It's coddling and amoxicillin, Old Master Zheng answered. Old Madame Zheng looked at Old Master Zheng in surprise. She didn't expect him, who always seemed quietly withdrawn, to remember what medicine she was taking. Yang frowned slightly. Is it just coddling and amoxicillin? Does a tonic count as a medicine? Old Master Zheng asked again. Yang nodded, it does. She also drinks ginseng chicken soup and takes some tonics like cordyceps and deer antler, Old Master Zheng said. Yang continued, Actually, the cough problem of Grandma Zheng isn't serious, but strangely the medicine she has been taking over the years seems to have no effect on her. I suspect it has something to do with her usual diet. Some foods can counteract each other, not only eliminating the efficacy of the medicine but producing the opposite effect. Over time, a layer of slow-acting toxins harmful to health can accumulate in the body. Source: web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 737. Crazy Grandson Pamperer _ Yang, are you suggesting that your Granny Zheng has been poisoned? Old Master Zheng asked. Yes. Yang nodded slightly. That's one interpretation. Granny Zheng's cough has been going on for 10 years, though there were times when she got better. It worsened suddenly starting from last year, didn't it? Correct. Granny Zheng nodded. It started from last year. And I Yang continued, has there been any change in your diet since last year? Granny Zheng said, other than 3 meals a day, I drink tonic medicines, the ones your grandfather Zheng just mentioned. Old Master Zhao hurriedly asked, how severe is Granny Zheng's condition now? And I Yang's expression was somewhat solemn. It's serious but not too severe. However, if the toxins in Granny Zheng's body are not removed in time, there's always the risk it will deteriorate, putting her life at risk. Old Master Zheng turned pale. Yang, do you have a way to detoxify her? Granny Zheng, rest assured there's always an antidote wherever there is poison. Lucky for us, Granny Zheng came in time. If it were any later, it would have been a tough situation. As she finished her sentence, and I Yang added, every medicine has its toxicity, so during this period do not consume those tonic medicines anymore. Very well, we appreciate your help, Yang. Old Master Zheng nodded and sighed in relief. And I Yang took out a small porcelain bottle and handed it to Granny Zheng. Granny Zheng, first take this detoxification pill. During this time, avoid alcohol, spicy food, raw or cold food. Also, don't continue taking ceftazole and amoxicillin. Okay. Granny Zheng solemnly accepted and memorized N.I. Yang's words. After examining Granny Zheng, N.I. Yang took Old Master Zheng's pulse. Old Master Zheng's pulse was very steady, but beneath the calmness lay subtle signs of trouble. Damage had been subtly inflicted on all his internal organs. Upon closer examination, one would find that his symptoms were surprisingly similar to Granny Zheng's. If the toxins in Granny Zheng's body resulted from food incompatibility, then what about Old Master Zheng's? How is it that both of them would be poisoned at the same time? Something did not seem quite right here. After a moment, N.I. Yang let go of Old Master Zheng's wrist. Grandfather Zheng, have you also been drinking tonic medicines recently? Yes. Old Master Zheng nodded. Recently, Zheng Lingling had been making all sorts of tonic soups for him and Granny Zheng every day. Then who's been making this tonic? My daughter. Old Master Zheng answered. And I Yang continued, Grandfather Zheng, lately you're having trouble sleeping and experiencing tinnitus and dizziness, right? Yes. Old Master Zheng nodded. You also have a layer of toxin in your body similar to Granny Zheng's condition. And I Yang revealed truthfully. Old Master Zheng frowned in realization. Is it because both Granny Zheng and I consumed incompatible foods? After all, they usually had the same meals. That's indeed possible, and I Yang added, but we can't rule out the possibility of intentional poisoning. Intentional poisoning. Upon hearing these words, both Old Master Zheng and Granny Zheng turned pale. It couldn't possibly be intentional, could it? Granny Zheng said. Who would poison them in the Zheng family? The servants had no grudges against them, they would certainly not poison them. Then there was Lingling. But Lingling was their daughter, raised by them for over 30 years. Despite not being biologically related, they were as close as if they were. Lingling certainly wouldn't poison them. And I Yang's tone was casual. Human intentions can be hard to discern, sometimes prevention is necessary. The toxins in both of you seeped into your bodies without your knowledge. Modestly speaking, a less experienced traditional Chinese medicine practitioner or hospital checkup wouldn't detect it. And I Yang had lived 2 lifetimes, she had seen all sorts of incidents. Especially the conspiracies within wealthy families, which were even more exaggerated than the palace dramas in the future. Sometimes, human intentions couldn't stand close scrutiny. Continuing, and I Yang said, however, I'm just raising a warning. Perhaps the toxins in both of you are caused by incompatible foods and are unrelated to intentional actions. After all, she didn't have any evidence yet and couldn't make unfounded accusations. Moreover, she didn't know much about Old Master Zheng and Granny Zheng's family situation. If it turns out to be a misunderstanding, that wouldn't be ideal. Source: web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 738, Spoiled Grandson Maniac _3. Some things only need to be clear between 2 old people. Grandpa Mo and Grandma Mo didn't say a word. And I Yang handed the completed prescription to Grandpa Mo. Grandpa Zheng, erase the prescription. All right, thank you. Grandpa Zheng took the prescription with both hands and glanced at it, surprise flashing in his eyes. Refined strokes and vigorous spirit. The handwriting was gorgeous. They say handwriting reflects the person, and it was indeed the case. Just when the two elders were about to leave, the sky that had just cleared up suddenly began to snow. This was the first snow after the beginning of spring. It had snowed for less than 10 minutes, and there was already a thin layer of snow on the ground. Enai Tsuehua went to cover the rabbit hutch with plastic sheets to prevent snow from entering. When she came back after covering the hutch, she ran into the old couple on their way out. "Uncle Zheng, Auntie Zheng, it's snowing and the roads are slippery. Why don't you stay and have lunch? It's nearly noon anyway," said Enai Tsuehua, who was always a kind person, and couldn't bear to see the two elders trudging through the snow. "Oh, we don't want to bother you," Grandma Zheng declined politely. "It's no trouble at all, not at all." Enai Tsuehua walked in with Grandma Zheng's arm. "We were going to have lunch anyway, so as long as you two don't mind, it's all good. After lunch, I'll get Enai Yang to drop you off at the village." Enai Yang didn't know it was snowing outside, and when she stepped out, she was taken aback. "Grandpa Zheng, Grandma Zheng, my mom is right. You should stay for lunch and he'll take you to the village after we eat." The roads were slippery in the snow, and it was a little unsafe for Grandpa and Grandma Zheng, who were already quite old, to walk on their own. The two of them really loved the atmosphere in the Enai family's home. Seeing Enai Tsuehua and her daughters was genuinely heartwarming. They didn't refuse her any further and thanked them in their hearts for being such good people. They wondered what kind of elders they would have had to be in order to raise such good descendants. Hot pot is the best for snowy days. Considering that the two elders could not eat spicy food, Enai Tsuehua specially made a delicious seafood hot pot. The pot was full of clams, Australia lobster, and king crab legs. The soup was creamy and mouth-watering, especially with the accompanying vegetable dishes. This was Beijing and it was winter, so getting seafood was not easy, even for the rich and powerful families. But the Enai family was different. They had Emochishan. Because Enai Yang liked seafood so much, all of these items were flown in by Emochishan. The king crab brought in was still alive at that time. Enai Tsuehua was a very considerate person and she peeled a lot of crab and shrimp meat for Grandpa and Grandma Zheng. Grandpa Zheng usually didn't have much of an appetite, but today he ate all the crab and shrimp meat that Enai Tsuehua had prepared without a word. If you looked closely, you could see the tears glittering in his lowered eyes. If his daughter hadn't been lost, now she should be taking care of him like Enai Tsuehua, right? Grandpa Zheng swallowed his tears along with the crab meat. Grandma Zheng put a piece of peeled crab meat into Enai Tsuehua's bowl. "Yang Yang's mom, don't just peel for us. You should eat too." "All right." Enai Tsuehua nodded, eating the crab meat. After the meal, Grandpa Zheng was holding little Enai Yun, telling her stories. Little Enai Yun was fascinated. After each story she clapped for Grandpa Zheng. "Grandpa is awesome." Grandpa Zheng was so happy he couldn't stop smiling, which was quite a departure from his usual serious demeanor. After listening to the 10th story, little Enai Yun suddenly said, "Grandpa, let's play hide and seek." "Sure." Grandpa Zheng nodded. Little Enai Yun jumped off Grandpa Zheng's lap at the mention of this and ran into the house. After a while, she came back with a small handkerchief. "Grandpa, is it?" "All right." Grandpa Zheng nodded again. Little Enai Yun blindfolded Grandpa Zheng with the handkerchief, and the old and the young started playing hide and seek. The living room was filled with laughter from both of them. Grandma Zheng never knew that Grandpa Zheng could be so childlike. After they finished playing hide and seek, little Enai Yun brought a comb, rubber bands, and small clips. "Grandpa, can I braid your hair?" She often did this for her father, who praised her braids as pretty. Grandpa Zheng's expression was somewhat subtle. He had lived for so many years, and this was the first time anyone had wanted to braid his hair. Chapter 739, Spoiled Grandson Maniac _4. Enai Tsuehua said, "Yun Yun, sweetie, don't bother Grandpa anymore." The old man Zheng laughed and said, "That's all right. It's a good thing that children like to play." As he spoke, the elder Zheng lowered his head, letting little Enai Yun play on his head. A look of disbelief covered the old Mrs. Zheng's face. The elder Mr. Zheng was acting too strange today. If she hadn't seen with her own eyes, she would have thought he was another person. Not only had little Enai Yun placed 3 braids on Mr. Zheng's head, but she also clamped a pink clip to his beard and smeared lipstick and foundation on him, making him look very funny. Elder Mr. Zheng had always been old-fashioned and serious. He had never acted like this before. Mrs. Zheng couldn't help but laugh out loud. Little Enai Yun held her face with both hands and said admiringly, "Wow, Grandpa looks so pretty." Elder Mr. Zheng, "Ha ha." Old Mrs. Zheng laughed so hard that she fell onto the sofa and held her stomach. Little Enai Yun, excited, said, "Grandpa, see, Grandma was knocked out by your beauty." At this point, even Enai Yang couldn't help but laugh. Being able to let little Ni Yun play around like this, elder Mr. Zheng must be extremely indulgent with grandkids at home. Pleasant times always seem to pass quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it was 4 in the afternoon. The winter's early evening comes much earlier than in summer. By 4:10 p.m. it was already getting dark. When the elder Mr. Zheng and Mrs. Zheng proposed to leave, Ni Tsuehua and Ni Yang, along with little Ni Yun, accompanied the old couple to the village entrance. Little Ni Yun was very reluctant to part with elder Mr. Zheng. "Grandpa, don't go away. Don't worry, Grandpa will come and visit you often." Elder Mr. Zheng patted little Ni Yun's head. "Then let's pinky swear." Little Ni Yun held out her pinky finger. "All right." Old Mr. Zheng made a pinky promise with little Ni Yun. "Wait a minute." Little Ni Yun continued, "Grandpa, I have another gift for you." "What's the gift?" "This is my most favorite hair clip. I'm giving it to you now." Little Ni Yun reluctantly shared her treasured pink pearl hair clip, clipping it onto Elder Zheng's head. "Thank you, little Yun Yun." Elder Mr. Zheng looked very happy. "You're welcome," little Ni Yun said shyly. The elderly couple got in the car and waved to Ni Yang and Ni Tsuehua. "Yang Yang's mom, Yang Yang, it's getting dark. You guys should go home." The mother and daughter waved back at them. The car quickly disappeared into the snowy landscape. The atmosphere in the car was quiet, but the corners of the elderly couple's mouths were filled with a soft smile. After a while, elder Mr. Zheng said, "Aching, don't you think that Yang Yang and little Yun Yun resemble our Tingting when she was a child? Especially little Ni Yun, her chubby little face looked exactly like Zheng Tingting did as a baby." Hearing these words, elder Mrs. Zheng said in surprise, "You think so too?" She thought she was the only one who thought that. Elder Mr. Zheng looked similarly surprised. "You think so too?" "Yes." Elder Mrs. Zheng nodded, then said, "Didn't I tell you last time that I met someone who looked just like our Tingting? That was Yang Yang's mom, and the hair that Dr. Xiaoran had taken for testing was also hers. I don't know if Dr. Xiaoran has the results yet." Elder Mr. Zheng let out a sigh. "Xiaoran is a responsible kid. If there were results, she would definitely call us straight away," Mrs. Zheng said. Elder Mr. Zheng nodded. When the two returned home, Zheng Lingling asked anxiously, "Mom, Dad, it's snowing so hard outside, where did you go today? I was worried all day at home. You two are not young anymore and the snowy roads are slippery. What should I do if an accident occurs?" Elder Mr. Zheng didn't say anything as usual, he went straight upstairs. Elder Mrs. Zheng laughed and said, "Your dad and I went to the countryside to relax, you don't need to worry." Zheng Lingling continued, "Mom, Dad, next time you go somewhere, please tell me in advance. I will accompany you so I won't worry. What are these stubborn old people up to? They wouldn't be looking for their daughter again, would they? They're really a couple of worrywarts. Zheng Tingting has been dead for hundreds of years, why can't they just calm down? Even though she's not their biological child, she is more filial than a real daughter would be. Why can't they be satisfied with that? Don't they know the saying, a man's heart is not enough to swallow an elephant?" Elder Mrs. Zheng continued, "Lingling, you're also working very hard. You should rest more when you have time. Your dad and I can take care of ourselves." Chapter 740, Spoiled Grandson Maniac _5. Zheng Lingling humbly replied, "It's no trouble. What could be so hard for me? I guess this old witch does have a bit of a conscience, acknowledging my daily hustling. Then he'll go upstairs first." "All right, Mom." Mrs. Zheng turned and went upstairs. In no time Zheng Lingling brought up the ginseng soup. "Mom, Dad, this is today's ginseng soup." Just as Mrs. Zheng was about to say something, Mr. Zheng spoke, "Thank you, Lingling, well, drink it later." Zheng Lingling nodded, "Dad, you should drink it sooner, its effectiveness decreases once it gets cold." Mr. Zheng nodded in agreement. Without overthinking, Zheng Lingling turned and left. Then Mrs. Zheng proceeded, "Why didn't you tell her earlier so she won't make these supplements anymore?" Mr. Zheng responded, "We just came back from outside today. If we immediately tell Lingling not to make these supplements, it would arouse suspicion, right? Normally there are no secrets among family members. But the current situation is special. Not everything is appropriate to share with Zheng Lingling." Mrs. Zheng nodded, "True, that makes sense." Then Mr. Zheng poured both bowls of ginseng soup into a nearby watering can. The soup was more suitable as plant water. Ni Yang went to the Zhao families today, to check up on Mrs. Zhao. Mrs. Zhao's recovery was going well, and she now had full mobility in her upper body. After the examination, Mrs. Zhao started talking to Ni Yang about Mrs. Chang. A doctor's heart must be of benevolence. Hearing Mrs. Zhao's words, Ai Yang was deeply sympathetic and asked, "Where is Mrs. Chang now? I can go and take a look." Mrs. Zhao said, "Butler, please take Yang Yang." The butler nodded and turned to Ai Yang, "Miss Ai, please follow me." Mrs. Chang was staying in the Zhao family's guest room and was currently under full-time care. Thanks to the caretaker's diligent care, Mrs. Chang seemed quite healthy. Although Mrs. Chang's symptoms appeared similar to Mrs. Zhao's, Ai Yang found something unusual after conducting an examination. Mrs. Chang's loss of speech wasn't due to a stroke, but because she was poisoned by a mute-inducing drug. Could it be Lin Fang? With Lin Fang's malicious nature, there was indeed a possibility. Fortunately, she could cure the effects of the drug. Although she could restore Mrs. Chang's speech, she couldn't do anything about her legs. Her legs were completely necrotic, and because they were not treated in time, they had fully atrophied. Unless the technology to regenerate muscles becomes a reality, Mrs. Chang standing on her own would be impossible. Ai Yang first used several acupuncture needles on Mrs. Chang to clear the stagnation causing her muteness, then fed her a black pill. Mrs. Chang only felt an area of coolness in her throat and a ticklish sensation, almost like something was about to break through the surface. At that moment, Ai Yang held her upright and gave her a glass of water. Like a rainstorm hitting a parched desert, Mrs. Chang vigorously swallowed. In less than 30 seconds she had drunk the whole glass of water. Thank you." Mrs. Chang expressed her gratitude with a hoarse voice. Ai Yang smiled slightly, "Congratulations, you can talk again." It finally dawned on Mrs. Chang, I can speak." Ai Yang nodded, "Yes." Mrs. Chang grabbed Ai Yang's hand, "Young lady, thank you. I am a doctor, and this is what I should do." Ai Yang began packing up her medical kit. "By the way, what happened to your voice?" "It was Lin Fang." Mrs. Chang tightly gripped the bed cover. "It was all because of that wench. She not only caused the death of my son but also made me lose my speech." Ai Yang looked surprised. "So, it really was her." Upon hearing of this, Mrs. Zhao immediately called the police, as poisoning someone to mute them is certainly not a minor offense. In front of the police, Mrs. Chang revealed all of Lin Fang's wrongdoings throughout these years. As a result, Lin Fang's prison term was increased from 3 years to 8. Subsequently, Mrs. Zhao had the staff at the nursing home take Mrs. Chang to the nursing home. Mrs. Zhao felt sorry for Mrs. Chang's predicament and arranged for her to stay in a high-end single room in the nursing home with one-on-one nursing care. The cost was quite high, at 500 yuan per year. In the eyes of ordinary people, 500 yuan is a fortune, but for Mrs. Zhao, it was nothing. Additionally, Mrs. Zhao gave Mrs. Chang 1,000 yuan in cash, which Mrs. Chang insisted she couldn't accept. Chapter 741, Spoiled Grandson Maniac _6. She already owes the Zhao family so much, and the situation with Lin Fang and Mrs. Zhao was a regrettable disaster. She was truly remorseful. Mrs. Zhao sat in her wheelchair, tightly clasping Mrs. Chang's hand. "You're also a victim, dear sister. Hold on to this. Whenever you crave anything in the nursing home, send someone to buy it. This is all I can offer you now." Tears streamed down Mrs. Chang's face as she said, Thank you. You're a genuinely good person." The nursing home was a pleasant environment. Mrs. Chang liked it a lot. Besides, there were a lot of elderly people around, so the caretakers could wheel her out to chat during their free time. Ai Yang visited a recently opened noodle restaurant branch for an audit today. The branch manager was a woman named Su Mei. Su Mei was a highly inspirational woman. At 39, she had lost her husband to cancer 3 years ago and was now living with her 18-year-old daughter and mother-in-law. Originally, Ai Yang would routinely appoint villagers from Jinghua village as managers, but now none remained. Hence, Ai Yang had to hire externally. Su Mei was exceptionally responsible and cherished this job. Yang, here are the accounts for these past few days. Would you take a look?" Su Mei handed Ai Yang the ledger and 3 large iron boxes. Despite their unassuming and slightly rusty exterior, they held all the revenue earned in the last few days. "Thank you, Aunt Su Mei." Ai Yang took the ledger. She skimmed through the ledger, her casual demeanor concealing the thoroughness of her scrutiny. Only Su Mei knew how meticulous Ai Yang was, picking up on the slightest irregularities. The boxes contained a week's worth of total business turnover, amounting to 35,600 yuan. With the earnings from the neighboring milk tea shop, the total came to 78,000 yuan. The money was organized neatly. 50 yuan notes were grouped together, as were the single yuan notes. The numerous coins contributed to the nearly 20 kilograms of cash. Just as they were counting the money, A young schoolgirl rushed in with her backpack. Mom? Hui, what happened? You look flustered, Sumei asked. The young girl was Sumei's daughter, Sun Hui. Out of breath, Sun Hui said, Mom, Grandma fell in the yard. She was taken to the hospital by Aunt Zhang from next door. Upon hearing this, Sumei tensed up. What happened? Why would your grandma suddenly fall? And Yang looked up and said, Aunt Su, feel free to leave if you have anything urgent to handle. But the shop is so busy. Sumei felt a little reluctant. And Yang smiled and said, Don't worry, I'm still here. Hurry up and go. Emergency shouldn't wait. You know I always want to be a considerate employer. At that moment, Sun Hui looked at Yang and exclaimed, The school beauty. Yang was taken aback. Sun Hui continued, My name is Sun Hui. I'm a student in class 6 of grade 3 at Sam Middle School. Aren't you the school beauty, Yang? With her striking looks and having attained the top spot in the transfer student examination, Yang was practically a legend at the school. Yang smiled and replied, I am Yang, but being called the school beauty is too flattering. School beauty, do you also work part-time here? Hui asked. Sumei said, Yang is the boss here. Presumably surprised, Hui exclaimed, Oh my God! You're so amazing, school beauty. Although owning a business sometimes had a negative connotation, it wasn't something just anyone could accomplish. Yang continued, Hui, didn't you say that your grandma had a fall and is in the hospital? You and Aunt Sumei should go and check on her quickly. Reminded by Yang, Sun Hui suddenly remembered, That's right, Mom, let's go quickly. Sumei untied her apron, a little embarrassed, then Yang would better get going. Right? Yang nodded and continued, If you encounter any difficulties, Aunt Su, feel free to let me know at any time. Sure, thank you, Yang. Mother and daughter hastily rushed out of the shop. Sun Hui said, Our school beauty seems nice. I used to think she was aloof, but it turns out she's very approachable. There wasn't a popular word like cool to describe one's demeanor in those days. Aloof was a fair pre-modern equivalent. Sumei nodded, Yes, Yang is a nice person. Upon reaching the hospital, they discovered that Mrs. Sun didn't have any serious injuries. She had just scraped her head and after a bit of bandaging she could be discharged. Seeing that Mrs. Sun was fine, Sumei heaved a sigh of relief, admonishing, Mom, you need to be careful when you're at home alone. We were lucky nothing serious happened today. But what if you'd hurt your legs instead? Mrs. Sun nodded, chuckling, I know. It had just snowed a few days ago and the ground was icy. I was walking a bit too fast and didn't realize I would slip. Time flew and another month passed. The ice and snow have melted, the willows on the riverbank began to sprout, and the silhouettes of swallows nesting could be seen everywhere on the roofs and eaves. The warm sun was high in the sky, and Yang was loosening the soil for the plants in the yard. Shangguan Dehui and Tsuehua, and Mrs. Shangguan had taken little Yun to fly kites by the riverbank. Yang was too lazy to join them, so she stayed home. At this moment, a pair of slender hands playfully covered Yang's eyes. A faint scent of tobacco emanated from her sleeves. Guess who I am? Yang turned slightly and laughed. I'm guessing it must be Air Guzi from next door. Swiftly confess who Air Guzi is. The more you resist, the worse it gets. Mo Chishan released her, hooked his arm around her waist and pulled her close. He leaned over her, his lips brushing against hers. The scent of smoke was clear. Seeing that he was not going to stop, Yang gently pushed him away, laughing, Brother Mo, when did you get back? The sunlight shone on his dimples, making her want to kiss him again. I just got back. I came to see you right away. How was it, boss? Did I do a good job? Mo Chishan rested his head on her neck and asked. 3 months. It had been 3 full months since he had last seen their boss. Yang laughed and replied, Still under review. In Mo Chishan's presence, Yang was spared the chore of tilling and fertilizing the dirt. This was his first time handling such a taxing task, but under Yang's guidance he managed to do it quite well. The Zheng family. Mrs. Zheng received a phone call and hurriedly ran to the backyard. Zheng Jun. Mr. Zheng was weeding the flowers. Hearing Mrs. Zheng call his name, he answered questioningly, What's up? Mrs. Zheng rarely used his name unless it was something important. Mrs. Zheng was on the verge of tears. I just got a call from Dr. Xiaoran. She asked us to come ASAP. Clang. The hoe in Mr. Zheng's hand fell to the ground. All right. Well, leave right now. Chapter 742. Identification Results. Confirmed biological. _1 The two elderly people propped each other up as they walked out. Old Master Zheng said, "Ching, what did Xiaoran say? Sometimes the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment." Old Master Zheng didn't want to experience that feeling of loss again. Judging from Xiaoran's tone, it should be good news. Old Madame Zheng's voice was trembling. On the phone, Dr. Xiaoran's voice was filled with suppressed joy. This time it must be for sure. Really? Old Master Zheng's eyes turned red. "Yes," said Old Madame Zheng, nodding. "Quick, change your clothes. We need to leave right now." Old Master Zheng had just been weeding the garden, and there was a fair amount of dirt on his clothes. "What's the point of changing? Let's go." At this moment, Old Master Zheng was in no mood to change his clothes. He was desperate to get to Dr. Xiaoran's place immediately to see the results. Nothing is more important than his own daughter. "If you don't want to change, then let's go." Old Madame Zheng took Old Master Zheng's sleeve and headed out. The two were hurrying and ran into Zheng Lingling at the door. Seeing the two elders in such a hurry, Zheng Lingling asked with concern, "Mom, Dad, where are you rushing off to?" Before the matter was confirmed, Old Madame Zheng didn't want to tell Zheng Lingling, "Your father and I have promised each other that we will go to see a play at 11 o'clock this morning, and it's almost time. Let me drive you." Zheng Lingling followed the elders. She always felt that Old Master Zheng and Old Madame Zheng were hiding something from her. It was not as simple as watching a play. These two old farts. Old Madame Zheng and Old Master Zheng got in the car and denied, "Lingling, you stay at home, there are other things to do at home, your father and I will go first." After speaking, she closed the car door and said to the driver in front, "Xiaolu, let's go." Zheng Lingling looked at the car leaving a trail of dust. There was only dissatisfaction in her eyes. Now, Zheng Lingling could basically conclude that Old Madame Zheng and Old Master Zheng were not just going out to watch a play. What the hell these two old bastards are hiding from her? Does it have something to do with Zheng Tingting? So many years have passed, Zheng Tingting is still not dead? Zheng Lingling turned and walked towards the villa. Just at this moment, as if she suddenly remembered something, she squinted, turned her head and looked at the maid. "Get Xiaozhang for me, I have to go out." "Yes, madam." The maid nodded. In a little while, Zheng Lingling took a car and arrived at a common residential area. This was where Dr. Jiang lived. Aunt Jiang. When Zheng Lingling arrived, Dr. Jiang was sipping tea on the sofa. The room was rather old, with a worn-out black and white TV set on the table. Hearing this, Dr. Jiang put down her tea with surprise. "Lingling, what brings you here?" Zheng Lingling followed with, "I specifically came to thank you. After taking your medicine, my mom and dad have improved a lot. I haven't heard my mom cough for a month." Dr. Jiang squinted her eyes. "Is the tonic still being cooked every day?" "Every day," Zheng Lingling replied. Dr. Jiang stood up from the sofa. "I am really relieved to hear this. But even though your parents are much better now, they still need the daily tonic." "Okay." Zheng Lingling nodded. Dr. Jiang went to the wooden shelf and picked up a white plastic bottle. "If you keep taking the same medicine, the bacteria in the body will develop immunity. The old medicine won't work for your mother anymore. Replace it with this one." "Okay, thank you, Aunt Jiang." Zheng Lingling took the bottle. Dr. Jiang said, "I and your mother have been old friends for decades, there's no need to thank. By the way, there's one more thing." Zheng Lingling continued. "Tell me." Zheng Lingling glanced out the window, then lowered her voice and whispered something in Dr. Jiang's ear. Hearing this, Dr. Jiang's face changed. "Don't worry, a soldier will block the way and the water will cover the earth." Dr. Jiang continued, "Besides, this is just your speculation. Go home first." Zheng Lingling hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Wait a moment." Dr. Jiang called out to Zheng Lingling's retreating figure. Zheng Lingling turned around. "What's wrong, Aunt Jiang?" "You wait here for me." After speaking, Dr. Jiang turned around and walked towards the inner room. After a while, Dr. Jiang came out with an extra bag in her hand. Chapter 743. Identification Result, Confirmed Biological. _2. What is this? Zheng Lingling asked, puzzled. Dr. Jiang said, "Spring is coming soon, so this is a sweat that I knitted for Xianjing. She can start wearing it as a coat when the weather warms." Zheng Lingling was taken aback. "Don't you have vertigo?" Dr. Jiang suffered from vertigo that did not affect her daily life. Still, every time she did work that required bending down, her task resulted in unbearable dizziness, with sparkles in her vision. For fine work like knitting a sweater, the sweat and time she put in were many times more than ordinary people. For a time, Zheng Lingling was deeply moved. Dr. Jiang laughed and said, "It's just a sweater, no big deal." I don't even know if Xianjing would like it. Zheng Lingling immediately said, she will love it. Xianjing will absolutely like it. How could Zheng Xianjing not enjoy a hand-knitted sweater like this? Furthermore, it symbolizes Dr. Jiang's goodwill. That's good. Dr. Jiang continued, all right, you should go back now. Zheng Lingling nodded, Aunt Jiang, I'll be leaving now. Dr. Jiang nodded, watching as Zheng Lingling left. Back home, Zheng Lingling handed the sweater knitted with love by Dr. Jiang to Zheng Xianjing and mysteriously said, Xianjing, see what's inside. What is it? Zheng Xianjing took the bag. What's the big mystery? You'll know when you see it. Zheng Lingling replied. Zheng Xianjing opened the bag and pulled out a yellow cardigan sweater and grimaced, oh my god. This sweater's color is horrific. It's shit yellow. Mom, did you buy this? Your taste is truly terrible. Zheng Lingling frowned slightly. What kind of things are you saying? What do you mean shit yellow? Isn't this color beautiful? Whatever, I don't like it. Zheng Xianjing carelessly tossed the sweater aside. Zheng Lingling picked up the sweater again. This is knitted by your Granny Jiang. It's a token of her affection. How can you talk like this? Thinking of Jiang, the doctor with vertigo, insisting on knitting a sweater for Zheng Xianjing, Zheng Lingling's heart ached. What Granny Jiang? Zheng Xianjing continued. I think she didn't have good intentions. Last time I heard it outside the study room loud and clear. She told grandmother, a foster daughter can never equal a biological one, and even coaxed Granny to not give up on finding her biological daughter. Ever since she overheard that conversation outside the study, Zheng Xianjing couldn't find a single thing to like about Dr. Jiang. Dr. Jiang just muddied the waters, a cunning and petty individual. Zheng Lingling sighed, Xianjing, you're still young and don't understand some things. You just need to know one thing. Granny Jiang is really fond of you. She suffers from severe vertigo. Do you know how difficult it is for her to finish knitting this sweater? Zheng Xianjing managed to laugh. What does her vertigo have to do with me? It's not like I begged her to knit this sweater. Did she think that winning her over was that easy by using such a low-end strategy? Only Zheng Lingling could be deceived that easily. How could you be so ungrateful? Zheng Lingling said in frustration. Look, Granny Jiang gave you a sweater despite having severe vertigo. What about your grandmother? Your grandmother is physically well. What has she given you? Compared to Granny Zheng, Dr. Jiang is more like a grandmother. Granny Zheng had never personally made anything for Zheng Xianjing. Zheng Xianjing snorted, they're both no good. Granny Zheng only ever cared about her biological daughter and never treated herself like her own granddaughter, and Dr. Jiang was only nice to her because of the Zheng family's status. She was clearly a flatterer. Their kind is in essence fawning toadies. Zheng Lingling glared, Xianjing. How could you talk about Granny Jiang like that? Zheng Xianjing, at a loss for words, said, Mom, what on earth are you trying to say? Is it all for the sake of this shit-colored sweater? Is it worth it? For the last time, this sweater is not shit yellow. Zheng Lingling suppressed her anger. In a few days your Granny Jiang will come for Granny's physical checkup. By that time you'd better put it on and thank Granny Jiang properly. If you want to wear it you can. I want. Zheng Lingling then said, if you don't want to wear it that's fine too. But if you want, you can forget about getting your allowance this month. Granny Zheng gives Zheng Xianjing 4,500 yuan in allowance every month. Although the money comes from Granny Zheng, it goes through Zheng Lingling's hands first. Chapter 744. Identification result, confirmed to be biological. _3. Zheng Xianjing frowned, then took the sweater. I understand. Zheng Lingling sighed. Xianjing, one day you will understand my intentions. Dr. Zioran's lab is quite a distance from the Zheng family home. Zheng Patriarch is a very patient man, but today patience seems to have lost its effect on him. He kept urging the driver almost as if he wanted to jump out of the car. Xiaolu, hurry up. Even faster. Xiaolu said, Old master, this is as fast as I can go. The old man frowned discontentedly. The fastest speed is still so slow. It seems we need to get a new car. Zheng Matriarch was also very anxious. Xiaolu, isn't there a shortcut? Let's take the shortcut. Xiaolu said, Old master, old mistress, please don't worry. This is the fastest I can go. I think we should be able to reach Dr. Zioran's lab in about 10 more minutes. These 10 minutes felt longer than 10 years for the old couple. Finally, the car stopped in front of the lab. The patriarch couldn't wait and hopped out of the car, followed by the matriarch. In his haste, the old man almost tripped over a stone, but Xiaolu was able to lend support just in time. Old master, please be careful. Hearing noises outside, Dr. Xiaoran, dressed in his white lab coat, came out of the lab. "Aching, Uncle Zheng, you're here." "Xiaoran." The matriarch grabbed hold of Dr. Zioran's hand. Even the usually reticent patriarch asked, "Xiaoran, what's the status of the test results?" Dr. Zioran's face showed no particular expression. He replied, "Aching, Uncle Zheng, please don't worry. Come inside and we'll talk." Seeing Dr. Xiaoran behaving like this, the couple felt a thump in their hearts. Were they going to be disappointed again? "Xiaoran, just tell Aching straight up if that girl is my Tingting or not." Tears welled up in the matriarch's eyes. Dr. Xiaoran invited them to sit on the sofa. "Aching, would you and Uncle Zheng like a cup of tea? Prepare yourselves mentally and he'll get the report." Prepare mentally? Could it be that Anai Tsuehua really wasn't their daughter? The matriarch's smile quickly vanished, and the patriarch's mood became complex at that moment. They had hoped all along. Why must reality be so cruel? Why just why? The patriarch let out a long sigh, covered his face with both hands, his heart filled with sorrow. This kind of discomfort was beyond words. Dr. Xiaoran quickly came back with the DNA test report in hand. "Uncle Zheng here." The patriarch was lost in pain, and he didn't have the mood to accept the report. The matriarch took the report with trembling hands. The report was full of professional jargon. She skimmed through it, went straight to the last line. The genes of the examined align with the genetic conditions of the listed parents. The probability of their biological relationship has been calculated to be 9,999%. At the bottom, there was a red seal. Confirmed biological. Confirmed biological. The expression on the matriarch's face shifted from infinite sadness to boundless joy. She was as happy at this moment as she was heartbroken when she lost her daughter. Thank God. This couldn't be more wonderful. The matriarch was so overjoyed that she cried, pressing the report to her chest, and started sobbing, "Tingting. My Tingting. Xingjun. Old man. We found our Tingting. Heaven has shown mercy." The patriarch paused, looking at his wife. "What did you say?" "She's ours. She's our biological Tingting. She is our Tingting. Look at this." The matriarch was almost babbling with joy. The patriarch reigned in his overwhelming joy and took the report with trembling hands. When he saw the red stamp that said, "Confirmed biological," tears welled up in his eyes. He had waited so many years. At last he had found his biological daughter. She was his daughter. He knew his intuition wouldn't be wrong. "Aching. Old woman. We have found Tingting. We have found Tingting. We finally found Tingting." The patriarch hugged the matriarch and they both wept together. Dr. Xiaoran, standing nearby, smiled and said, "Aching, Uncle Zheng, it's good news that we found Tingting. You two should stop crying." "Yes, Xiaoran is right, this is good news. We shouldn't cry." The matriarch accepted the handkerchief Dr. Xiaoran offered, wiping away tears from the patriarch's face. Chapter 745. Identification Result, Confirmed Biological. _4. Old Mr. Zheng turned his head obstinately. "I'm not crying." "Xiaoran, thank you." Old Mr. Zheng looked at Dr. Xiaoran. "Aching, it's my duty." Dr. Xiaoran replied. Old Mr. Zheng stood up anxiously. "Let's go, Aching. We're going to find our daughter." "All right." The two elderly people left the laboratory and got in the car. This time they were even more eager than when they were on their way to the lab. "Aching, do you think I look okay in these clothes?" Old Mr. Zheng was both anxious to see his daughter and worried about his appearance. Old Mistress Zheng smiled with tears in her eyes. "Look at you, your clothes are all covered in mud. I told you to change before we left." The couple sat restlessly in the car. "Do you think Tingting will recognize us?" asked Old Mistress Zheng nervously. "Will she blame me for not taking good care of her when she was young? It was all my fault, all my fault. If I had been more vigilant, we wouldn't have lost our Tingting." Old Mr. Zheng consoled her. "It wasn't your fault, Aching. It wasn't." Soon they arrived at the village entrance. Old Mr. Zheng and Mistress Zheng hurriedly got out of the car and practically ran towards the Ni family's courtyard. In no time they arrived at the Ni family's courtyard. Old Mistress Zheng looked at Old Mr. Zheng. "Zheng Jun, do you have the identification report? We'll need to show it to our child." Old Mr. Zheng took the report out of his pocket immediately. "Got it." Once the identification report was found, Old Mistress Zheng knocked on the door. Bang bang bang. Each knock getting more urgent than the last. Then the door opened. The two elderly people were overjoyed. "Tingting." But instead of Ni Tsuehua, It was Shangguan de Hui who opened the door. "Uncle Zheng, Aunt Zheng. Where's Tingting?" "Oh wait, where's Dia?" asked old Mistress Zheng. "She's in the yard." Before Shangguan de Hui could finish speaking, old Mr. Zheng and old Mistress Zheng charged into the house. Shangguan de Hui rubbed his eyes in disbelief. When did Uncle and Aunt Zheng get so fast? He couldn't help but think that the look of disappointment on their faces when they saw him was unmistakable. Was he really that disappointing? Shangguan de Hui closed the door in confusion. When old Master Zheng and old Mistress Zheng rushed in, and Ai Tsuehua was feeding a rabbit some vegetables. "Ting-ting." Old Mr. Zheng and old Mistress Zheng ran over and hugged Ai Tsuehua tightly. "Ting-ting. Our dear daughter, we've finally found you." And Ai Tsuehua was stunned. What's going on? Upon finally seeing their child, whom they had longed for day and night, the elderly couple couldn't help weeping. Shangguan de Hui was also a bit taken aback, as Ai Tsuehua had told him about her origins. He didn't expect her biological parents to show up so soon. "Uncle Zheng, Aunt Zheng, are you sure you haven't mistaken me for someone else?" And Ai Tsuehua wiped away the tears from old Mr. and Mistress Zheng. Although she had long known she wasn't her parents' biological daughter, the idea that old Mr. and Mistress Zheng could be her biological parents was hard to believe. This was too incredible. Shangguan de Hui stepped forward and said, "Uncle Zheng, Aunt Zheng, this is not a joking matter. How are you so certain that Dia is your biological daughter?" He knew that the Zheng family had lost a daughter many years ago, and he could understand the elder couple's feelings. But if this turns out to be a misunderstanding, then the ones hurt wouldn't just be the elderly couple. And Ai Tsuehua had always been curious to know what her biological parents looked like, and their reasons for abandoning her. Old Mistress Zheng choked back her sobs and said, "We didn't mistake her. We didn't. Dia is our daughter. She's Tingting." Old man Zheng Jun, quickly show her the identification report. They have had misunderstandings in the past, which was why old Mistress and Mr. Zheng were so cautious this time, waiting for the identification results before acknowledging their daughter. Old Mr. Zheng handed the report to Shangguan de Hui with trembling hands. Shangguan de Hui took the report and was shocked after reading it. So, Ai Tsuehua really was the biological daughter of old Mr. and Mistress Zheng. Shangguan de Hui passed the report to Ai Tsuehua. "Dia, Uncle Zheng and Aunt Zheng are your biological parents." Ai Tsuehua took the report, and as she read the words on it, her eyes filled with tears. Chapter 746. Identification result, confirmed biological. _5. She never dreamed that one day her biological parents would come looking for her in her lifetime. This all felt too surreal. Was she dreaming? "My daughter, my poor daughter, I'm sorry." Mrs. Zheng hugged Ai Tsuehua again. Mr. Zheng stood to the side, wiping his tears. "Why did you abandon me?" Ai Tsuehua asked. This is probably the question deep in the hearts of every abandoned child. Why did they abandon her? Since they didn't want her, why did they give birth to her in the first place? Thinking back on her past, Ai Tsuehua felt an overwhelming sense of injustice. Her adoptive father had sold her cheaply to Mu Jinbao for money. At the Mu family, she had had her fill of life's bitterness. Now, seeing her biological parents, she just wanted to understand why. "My child, I'm sorry, I'm terribly sorry," Mrs. Zheng sobbed as she recounted the past. 35 years ago, life was not as prosperous as it is now. The nation was going through a turbulent period, and there was a shortage of talents. Mr. and Mrs. Zheng, due to their unique jobs, had to work 5,000 kilometers away from Beijing. At that time, Zheng Tingting was only 3 years old. The 3-year-old Tingting was very smart. Not only could she count to 100, but she could also recite 300 Tang poems. In her free time, Mrs. Zheng would also teach her English. Despite the tough living conditions in the mountainous region, the family of 3 was very happy. But their happiness was short-lived. One day, while Mrs. Zheng was taking Tingting to the temple fair, she got lost in the crowd. Mrs. Zheng was almost distraught and searched for 3 days and 3 nights without any sleep but still could not find Tingting. Mr. Zheng would never forget that day. The day he found his wife. Mrs. Zheng had been unrecognizable. Her once spotlessly clean appearance was now filthy and foul, covered in injuries. She constantly called out for Tingting's name, but she did not have any tears left to cry. Perhaps only those who have experienced it can understand a mother's heart. Mr. Zheng couldn't bear to blame her. After his job was done, he took Mrs. Zheng back to Beijing and hired a foreign psychologist to help her. Mrs. Zheng's condition improved until Jiang Yen brought Zheng Lingling across the Pacific Ocean to meet her. Both of them had lost a beloved daughter. Both of them had lost a family member. This shared suffering made Mrs. Zheng transfer all her love for her daughter to Zheng Lingling. But after that, Mrs. Zheng would visit the place where Tingting was lost every year. They never gave up looking for their daughter, but fate seemed to be constantly playing tricks on them. Fortunately this time they finally found her. Tingting. My child, we are finally reunited as a family, thanks to God's will. We will never separate again, Mrs. Zheng sobbed till she lost her voice. The news about the Zheng family had caused quite a stir in Beijing years ago. Shengguan Dehui had heard bits and pieces of it. Dia, the situation is indeed as Aunt Zheng described. She did not lie. Upon Shengguan Dehui's confirmation, Anai Tsuehua let go of her doubts, hugged Mr. and Mrs. Zheng tightly and said, Mom. Dad. Tingting. My daughter. The elderly couple had waited so many years to hear these two words. The words Mom and Dad may seem simple. They consist of only 14 strokes in total. Probably only Mr. and Mrs. Zheng knew how much effort they had put in to hear this call of Mom and Dad. They had been through so many false alarms. After the old couple had slightly calmed down, Shengguan Dehui and Anai Tsuehua guided them to the living room. Mr. and Mrs. Zheng would hardly leave Anai Kuihua's side for a moment. They both held Anai Kuihua's hand on either side, as if afraid she would disappear the next second. The elderly couple surrounded Anai Tsuehua and talked to her about many things. Tingting, your full name is Zheng Tingting. Zheng from Zhengye, and Ting is the Ting from Pingting, graceful. Your dad has 2 younger brothers, your uncles, and also you have an aunt called Zheng Suyu. She lives in our house. Anai Tsuehua felt very strange at this moment. Her surname was originally Zheng, and her previous name was Zheng Tingting. Besides her parents, she had other relatives. Oh yes, Tingting, there's one more important thing I have to tell you. Mrs. Zheng continued. You may speak. Mrs. Zheng was carefully choosing her words, then she said, After you were lost, I adopted a daughter who is 4 years older than you. Her name was Chao Lingrui, but she changed it to Zheng Lingling. Lingling's mom was your aunt, who was my only sister. Your aunt and her husband died in a plane crash, and only Lingling was left. Chapter 747. Identification Result, Confirmed Biological. _6. She was afraid that Anai Tsuehua might take umbrage. After all, she had adopted Zheng Lingling shortly after Anai Tsuehua went missing. Yet after she explained, there were no particular changes on Anai Kuihua's face. Because to her, Zheng Lingling has also been unfortunate, losing her parents at the age of 7. It was only natural that Zheng's grandmother, the only relative Lingling had in the world, had adopted her. Seeing Anai Tsuehua didn't blame her, Zheng's grandfather and grandmother breathed a sigh of relief. Zheng's grandfather continued, Child, you've heard your mother's story but we still don't know, how have you lived these years? I've been okay. Everything had happened a long time ago, and Anai Tsuehua didn't want to add to her parents' sadness. Dia had a very hard life. Shengguan Dehui suddenly interjected. When Dia was just a teenager, she was sold by her adoptive father to a family named Mu in a neighboring village. She had a horrible time there. The Muse abused her physically and verbally, blaming her for not delivering a son. They even discarded Dia's 3 newborn daughters and then, since their marriage, there were hardly any secrets between Anai Tsuehua and Shengguan Dehui. Sometimes only the crying child will get the milk. What's more, these were all things Anai Tsuehua had personally experienced. The situation would seem grossly unfair to Anai Tsuehua if she just casually dismissed that past. Vastly unfair. Zheng's grandfather and grandmother, who had managed to stop crying, broke down again at this point. Tingting, my poor child. We have let you suffer all these years, it's all our fault. All our fault. If only we had found you sooner, you wouldn't have had to suffer like this. We're sorry. We're very sorry. The things that Shengguan Dehui said can be unbearable to hear, enough to make one's hair stand on end. Nobody knew how Anai Tsuehua had made it through all those years. Grandpa Zheng and Grandma Zheng felt utterly heartbroken. They were struggling. Anai Tsuehua comforting Zheng's grandfather and grandmother, It's okay now. It's all over already, isn't it? The atmosphere in the living room was somewhat heavy. When Anai Yang and Mo Qishan returned from the river with little Anai Yun, this was the sight that greeted them. They all wore coronets made of willow on their heads. Yang Xiaoma, you're back. Anai Tsuehua wiped the tears from her face. Come here, come. Anai Yang and Mo Qishan exchanged glances, both seeing confusion in each other's eyes. They walked over holding little Anai Yun. With a hoarse voice, Anai Tsuehua said, Yang Yunyan, this is your grandfather and grandmother. Technically, Anai Yang should call Zheng's grandmother and grandfather Grandpa and Grandma. But since the old couple didn't have a son of their own, according to custom, they should be addressed as grandfather and grandmother. Grandfather, grandmother? What's going on? And Yang was confused for a moment. Mo Chishan was also slightly taken aback. Little Yun, however, held her arms open to Zheng's grandfather. Grandpa, hold me. Zheng's grandfather took little Yun with teary eyes. Yun. This was his own granddaughter. His own. Zheng's grandfather was extremely excited. Zheng's grandmother clutched Yang's hand, her voice trembling with emotion. Good child, let Grandma take a look at you. No wonder the first time I saw you, I felt so close to you. Darling, grandfather and grandmother finally found you. The 4 generations of the family held each other in a tight embrace. Their family was finally reunited. And Yang had a general idea of what was happening. It would seem that Zheng's grandfather and grandmother were Kuihua's biological parents. Sure enough, Shengguan Dihui's next words confirmed this. Yang, Uncle Zheng and Aunt Zheng are your mother's biological parents. So it's true. Cuihua introduced Mo Chishan to Zheng's grandfather and grandmother. Mom and Dad, this is Yang's boyfriend Xiaoma. Mo Chishan politely responded, Grandfather Zheng, Grandmother Zheng. Both Zheng family and Mo family were close friends, so the old couple knew Mo Chishan well. Technically, Mo Chishan should call them uncle and aunt. Addressing them as grandfather and grandmother felt somewhat strange. Xiaoma. Zheng's grandmother smilingly said, we didn't have time to prepare a red envelope today, we'll definitely make it up to you later. Even if this Mo Chishan was a bit useless. He was good-looking and gentle, not as bad as rumored. He and Yang looked good together. And even if Mo Chishan were truly worthless, so what? Zheng family was wealthy enough to afford to keep Mo Chishan. Since Yang liked him, then as elders they will certainly offer their full support. Zheng's grandfather and grandmother stayed with the Ni family until it was dark and then went home. They had initially wanted to take Cuihua and her family back to the Zheng household, but many preparations hadn't been made in advance, hence the old couple left first to get things ready. After all, their long-lost daughter was here, and wouldn't suddenly disappear again. They wanted to hold a grand family reunion ceremony. The old couple returned home with smiles on their faces. Zheng Lingling asked, Mom, Dad, did something good happen? Zheng's grandfather bragged, Lingling, I've got some good news for you. What good news? Zheng Lingling asked in confusion. Zheng's grandfather couldn't wait to share the exciting news with Zheng Lingling. Lingling, we've found your sister. Sister? Zheng Lingling's heart skipped a beat. Could it be Zheng Tingting? Zheng Tingting was not dead. Zheng Lingling still maintained a smile on her face, feigning surprise. Is it Tingting? Zheng's grandmother nodded with tears in her eyes. Yes. It's your sister Tingting. We finally found her after all these years. What? Zheng Tingting is actually alive. Zheng Lingling was struggling to keep her smiled. Mom, Dad, are you sure? Don't let it be a false alarm like the last few times. These 2 old people. They just said a few days ago to Dr. Jiang that they wouldn't look for their biological daughter anymore. How come they found Zheng Tingting so quickly? She knew it, they never treated her as their own daughter from the start. Terrible. Just terrible. Zheng's grandmother said firmly, we won't be wrong this time, we absolutely won't. It's Tingting, my daughter? Suppressing her bitterness, Zheng Lingling continued, Mom, people are so fickle these days. There are so many people out there trying to associate with the powerful and wealthy. We must investigate everything thoroughly to avoid inviting the wolf into the house. By the way, have you done a paternity test? Who conducted it? Chapter 748. Recognize relatives. _1 Zheng Lingling felt extremely upset. If Zheng Tingting were really found and brought back, what would happen to her and Zheng Xianjing? The return of Zheng Tingting would mean she is coming back to fight for the family inheritance. All these years, she had devotedly served these 2 old creatures, and this was the outcome she was facing. Mom, this is a big deal, we can't rush this. Zheng Lingling continued. There will be no mistake this time. We have already done the identification. She is my Tingting, my poor Tingting who suffered a lot in the past. As she spoke, the old lady Zheng burst into tears. Can I see the identification? Zheng Lingling asked next. The old man Zheng handed Zheng Lingling the identification papers. As she took the papers, she went pale in shock. She had thought that the old Mr. and Mrs. Zheng had merely found someone who looked like Zheng Tingting. She had never thought that these 2 old creatures had even got a parent-child identification done. If the identification had not been done, there might have been ways to salvage the situation. But now that it was done, what could she do? Zheng Lingling wished she could tear the paper to shreds right then and there. Mom, Dad, when did you get this identified? This is such a huge, joyous event. Why didn't you tell us about it? Zheng Lingling managed to keep her anger under control. When they went to Dr. Wang's to get the test, hadn't they already had Zheng Xianjing's hair replaced? When had they secretly gone again to get an identification done behind her back? Mrs. Zheng replied, "We only got the result recently. Your father and I discussed it and we didn't tell you because we were afraid it would be a false alarm." "Ah, I see," Zheng Lingling said concernedly. "Mom, Dad, congrats on finding Tingting. Oh, by the way, where is Tingting now? Why didn't she come back with you?" Mrs. Zheng continued, "Your sister Tingting is at home right now. Your father and I have discussed it and are planning to throw a grand party for her homecoming and formally recognize our ancestors." Zheng Lingling's jealous heart was near twisting as she said, Yes, it's indeed a great occasion to find Tingting after so long. We should throw a big party. Mom, let me take care of the banquet this time, he'll make sure it's grand." Mrs. Zheng smiled and said, "Lingling, your willingness is enough. For this family reunion, your father and I want to personally take charge. We owe Tingting so much, we want to make it up to her." Handling the event personally and leaving it to Zheng Lingling would carry different meanings. See, this was the difference between a biological daughter and an adopted daughter. Now that the biological daughter had come back, the adoption daughter had become as insignificant as a blade of grass. She was even deprived of the privileges of organizing the banquet. If only she could remember that all the banquets of the Zheng family, big or small, had always been organized by her. Zheng Lingling suppressed her feelings and kept a smiling face. "That leaves you and Dad with all the work then. Alright, Mom, Dad, you haven't eaten yet, have you? I specifically asked the kitchen to save some food for you. They'll serve it to you upstairs now." Mrs. Zheng smiled and replied, "You don't need to bother Lingling, your father and I already ate at Tingting's." The corners of Zheng Lingling's smile almost drooped. "Alright then, Mom, Dad, you two should get some rest early." Mrs. Zheng nodded, "You should also rest early, Lingling." Zheng Lingling returned to her third-floor bedroom, still smiling. As soon as she closed the door, her face changed. Her eyes were filled with malice. "What's wrong? Who has upset you again?" Zheng Lingling's husband, sitting on the sofa reading the newspaper, looked up at Zheng Lingling as she entered. Zheng Lingling's husband was named Sun Wu. As a son-in-law who had married into the family, he didn't have much presence in the Zheng family. Zheng Lingling said angrily, "You're still in the mood to read the newspaper, we want to have a foothold in the Zheng family soon." "What happened?" Sun Wu put down his newspaper. "They found their biological daughter," Zheng Lingling said. Sun Wu was surprised. They actually found her? Would I joke about such a thing? Zheng Lingling was so angry, everything was irritating her. Sun Wu continued, "This is unbelievable. She's been missing for 35 years and they found her. Where did they find her? They hid it so well, I hadn't heard a word beforehand." Sun Wu had never thought that Zheng Tingting, who had been missing for 35 years, could be found. Zheng Lingling got even angrier as she listened, and she grabbed a pillow and threw it at Sun Wu. "Mother! You're still calling her mother. Do you think she considers you as her son-in-law? Just wait. Once her biological daughter comes back, our whole family will end up living under a bridge." Chapter 749. Recognize Family. _2. Sun Wu put the pillow on the sofa, then said, "It shouldn't be that serious, right? They're pretty nice to us usually, you're just overthinking things." As he finished speaking, Sun Wu continued, "By the way, what kind of family was your sister living in before? What's their situation like?" "I haven't had a chance to ask," Zheng Lingling said then. "The only reason those two old folks treated us well before was because they hadn't found their own daughter, and they were counting on us to take care of them in their old age. Now that they've found their biological daughter, who are we to them?" At these words, Sun Wu squinted his eyes. "From what you're saying, it seems the matter is quite serious. So what should we do now? They wouldn't really throw us out of the house, would they? Logically, a foster daughter wouldn't be as important as a biological one." Zheng Lingling's worries were not without reason. Zheng Lingling stood up from the sofa. "No way. I need to find out exactly who Zheng Tingting is right now." She was determined to protect what was hers and not let anyone take it away. Only by understanding the enemy's situation can we win the next battle. "You're going out now?" Sun Wu was somewhat surprised. As Zheng Lingling put on her coat and walked out, she said, "I might be back very late, you go to sleep first. By the way, make a call to Xianjing's school later and ask her to come back tomorrow." "Okay." Sun Wu nodded. Zheng Lingling left in the middle of the night. Upstairs, Grandpa Zheng and Grandma Zheng were discussing how to hold the reunion. That night some were joyful, some were worried. And some stayed awake all night. The Mo family. Upon hearing of this, Grandfather Mo and Grandmother Mo were both stunned. Sixth brother, is it true? Is your mother-in-law really Auntie Zheng's biological daughter? Grandmother Mo asked. Mo Qishan nodded, it's true. Grandmother Mo then said, no wonder I thought your mother-in-law looked familiar before, I even mentioned it to your father. Previously it was only a guess who could have imagined that Enai Tsuehua was indeed Mrs. Zheng's daughter. After speaking, Grandmother Mo continued, since your mother-in-law is Auntie Zheng's daughter, you can't call her Auntie Zheng anymore, you should call her Grandma like Yang Yang. Grandfather Mo said, with this our generations have all moved down a notch. With Mo Qishan and Enai Yang together, they and Enai Tsuehua became peers, and Grandfather Zheng and Grandmother Zheng were one generation ahead of them. Grandmother Mo chuckled, let the kids call their own, we will call our own. It's not mixed at all. After all these years, Aching has finally found Tingting. It's been a tough journey. Grandmother Mo was genuinely happy for Grandfather Zheng and Grandmother Zheng. She had been sisters with Grandmother Zheng for a lifetime and she knew how hard her life had been. Now things are starting to turn around. After they finished talking about the Zheng family, Grandmother Mo looked at Mo Qishan and said, sixth brother, you won't leave again after you get back this time, right? Mo Qishan took a sip of tea. Once I finish dealing with Yang Yang's family business, he'll have to take a trip to F country. Going to F country again? Grandmother Mo continued, isn't our China good? Why do you always run to F country? You hardly stay at home all year round, aren't you afraid that your wife will run off with someone else? Mo Qishan laughed, don't worry, Yang Yang is not that kind of person. Grandmother Mo sighed, sixth brother, in the future just stay at home honestly, don't go anywhere. We may not have many assets but we can more than afford to keep you. Grandmother Mo was sincerely worried. Mo Qishan was already 29 this year, and still had nothing to his name, and a bad reputation to boot. Grandfather Mo was also worried, and Yang was getting better and better, and he feared that Mo Qishan would not be able to keep up. Your mother is right, you're also not young anymore, you should stop running around in the future, stay honest in Beijing. They'll let Baichuan get you a small position at the company, it's time to settle down. Upon hearing this, Mo Qishan rubbed his temples helplessly. Mom, Dad, I'm okay, I have my own business, I don't need Baichuan's help. Grandfather Mo knocked his pipe on the coffee table. We are your parents, would we look down on you? Fearing that she had hurt Mo Qishan's pride, Grandmother Mo quickly started appeasing him. Let's drop it, since the kid doesn't want Baichuan's help, let's not bother Baichuan. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.